It's where Texas Stadium is all aglow on this Thursday, the stage for a rare confrontation, the likes of which the NFL hasn't seen since 1990. Two teams with 10-1 records going head-to-head for conference supremacy. It's the Cowboys.
We gotta go out here and ball right now. I'm not talking about right now, but I'm talking about right now.
They call us America's team, and we wanted more than folks who cross seas in search of the American dream.
These days in Green Bay, a leap of faith is all it takes to follow a guy who's on a natural high.
With stars on our helmets, we won through teams like Stripes, Red and White. Man, we come a long way from Friday Night Lights.
See, Mike's McCarthyism sparks optimism.
Oh, yeah!
You critics were all set to shut the book on Brett when he wasn't finished penning the final chapter yet.
Favre, quick throw on the slant. Into the clear. Touchdown!
And he's still not, and he's still hot, still knocking down records and mocking your comments.
Zach Romo, oh no. He's protected in the pocket. Precision with the pigskin, he launches it like a rocket.
Hate me if you want to, but I love me.
Like T.O., try to catch him, oh, too slow. At the snap with him, there's no stopping. And once he gets to that end zone, you know he likes to keep the crowd rocking.
These days in Green Bay, loyalty, love, and Lambo, these cheeseheads are not processed.
So watch as them boys from deep bring the heat that fires up the NFC and leaves cheeseheads melted in their seats.
About 66,000 have come to see it firsthand to lend their voice to the title hopes of two storied franchises destined again for postseason play. The Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys have known more than their share of winning times, but they've never combined for a better start than they have this year. In a state where bigger is no idle boast, there's no game bigger than this one. Good evening and welcome to Primetime Football on NFL Network. I'm Bryant Gumbel. 17 years. That's how long it's been since the NFL has had a regular season matchup like the one we've got tonight. Two division leaders, each of them with 10-1 records. The Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys have come by those credentials, though, in far different fashion. The Packers, the youngest team in the NFL, have pretty much relied exclusively on the 38-year-old, seemingly ageless arm of Brett Favre. He's the number 2 passer in the conference. The number 1 passer will be across the field from him tonight, Tony Romo. He's at the controls of a Dallas Cowboy offense that's averaging over 32 points a game. They can run it, they can throw it, and on defense, they'll be getting after Favre tonight. At stake is control of the NFC and a leg up on the road to the Super Bowl. Pleased to be joined again this evening by our own All-Pro, Mr. Chris Collinsworth. We got a lot of stars out tonight, buddy. Who deserves special mention?
Oh, you always have to start with Brett Favre, I think. Here's a guy, 38 years old, playing the best football he's ever played in his life, on the hottest streak he's ever been on in his life, 5 straight games with a quarterback rating of over 100. And oh, by the way, the guy on the other side of the field, Tony Romo, 5 straight games with a quarterback rating over 100. It's the first time in NFL history 2 such streaks have collided on the field on the same night. So we expect a lot of offensive fireworks out here today.
And this from a team, the Packers are really unusual. They're second in the league in throwing the ball, but they're dead last in running it. How do they get it done?
Well, you know, they're going to have to do what they've been doing, which is essentially put the ball in Brett's hands. And what we've seen is an entirely new look out of the Packers this season. They're spreading it out, 4 and 5 wide receivers. They're not trying to sit guys back in there and pass protect. This game is on Brett to make the quick reads, to get the ball out of his hands. If he can do that, they've got a great shot.
The Packers have won 6 in a row. The Cowboys have won 5 in a row. Something's got to give tonight. We have 2 of the most storied franchises in the league going at it. They'll be looking tonight to write a new kind of chapter in their storied history. We're going to come on back to Texas Stadium. The kickoff is just moments away on NFL Network.
Good luck to you, man. Too.
As the Packers come onto the field, 2 of the primary ones we should note up front, Charles Woodson and Kabir Bajabila.
Yeah, no question about it. The second best pass rusher of the Packers, the second best cover man for the Packers, both out for this big game. I don't think they're going to be out for a long time. They should be back the following week. But the Packers have big ambitions this season, and they don't want to take a chance on ending those with another injury tonight.
The Packers have been a great road team. They've won 7 in a row on the road under Mike McCarthy, but Dallas has not been kind to number 4. Brett Favre is winless in Dallas. He's been here 8 times. He's come away with 8 losses. Let's go down on the field to Rich Eisen, the Total Access crew. Rich?
All right, Bryant, as you and Chris have described, the standings tell the full story for tonight's game. The team that wins tonight not only clinches a playoff spot, but virtually clinches home field advantage right up to the Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, the first Sunday in February, because you take a look at the conference standings, and they're 3 games clear of the field, these two 10-1 teams are. The significance is right there for us. The question is, who wins this football game, Marshall Faulk?
You know me, I love the underdogs. I'm going Green Bay here. I feel like Favre is going to spread it out. I look for Ryan Grant to have a good game, and their defense to contain this Dallas offense.
I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys because I feel like the Cowboys believe that they're supposed to be here. And I think Green Bay are happy to be here at this point. 2 words for you, Nick Folk.
I was waiting for the injury report to come out because if everybody were healthy on both sides, I was going to pick the Green Bay Packers. But that's not the case now because Charles Woodson and KGB and Aaron Rouse are not going to play in this game. So I don't know if the Packers can stop that great Dallas Cowboy offense. So I have to go with the Cowboys.
Did you mention the name of a kicker?
A kicker. He will be significant tonight.
I can't believe he said that.
I can't believe it. After all this week with Favre and Romo and Al Harris and Terrell Owens, a kicker might be it. So it's time for football. The spectacle of this event is underway. The Packers and the Cowboys. Back to you, Bryant Gumbel.
All right, Rich, thanks so very much. Full house here as usual in Texas Stadium in Irving, and you see the scene here. This has the feel of a playoff game, although it's not a one-and-done situation. Here come the Cowboys. We'll be back with the kickoffs and some special ceremonies back in Texas after a break. Football fans nationwide are mourning the death this week of 24-year-old Sean Taylor, a Pro Bowl safety and former first-round draft pick. Taylor died Tuesday of wounds suffered at his home in Florida. He leaves behind an 18-month-old daughter and a wealth of friends and admirers grieving his loss.
I had the opportunity to know Sean longer than most people did. You know, I was been Sean's biggest fan. Sean Taylor, you can never replace. It's unfortunate what happened.
My heart goes out to his family and friends and loved ones and to the Redskins. Sometimes when you live a public lifestyle like these guys do, people lose the humanistic element of it. This was a man asleep in his home. And sad commentary.
Sean Taylor of the Washington Redskins, dead at the age of 24. The people here are going to be asked to remember him in just a moment. Let's go to the public address announcement.
And a moment of silence in memory of Sean Taylor. Thank you.
In memory of Sean Taylor, a number of players will be wearing his number 21, a sticker tonight and in this weekend's game. They'll do that in Sean's memory. Far different kind of memories are being rekindled now at midfield. You see there are 2 Hall of Famers flanking Jason Witten. That's Roger Staubach on the left and Troy Aikman on the right. They're marking the 30th and 15th anniversary of the title teams of 77 and 92. 77, it was the Cowboys beating the Denver Broncos with the Doomsday Defense, and in 92, the Cowboys routing the Buffalo Bills for one of their titles. Staubach and Aikman were at the controls of the offense. We actually asked them about marking the 40th anniversary of the Ice Bowl, but they didn't want to do that because they came up with a show.
I wonder why. That Troy Aikman fellow looks vaguely familiar.
Good buddy of yours?
Yeah, I know that guy. Roger Staubach, I did a speaking engagement with him one time, and winning the Heisman Trophy was the last thing on his resume. That's a life well lived when that's the last thing you put down on your
very
list.
well in the real estate business.
Oh.
This is heads. This is tails. Green Bay is the visiting team. Who's going to call it? What is your call? Tails. The call is tails. Green Bay has won the toss, chosen to receive. Good luck, man.
John Perry is our referee in charge of tonight's game, and as you heard, the Packers in white will get the ball first. The Cowboys this evening are in their throwback uniforms, dating back to the ones they wore when they first started, 60-63. Of course, they played the Packers back then, lost 41-7.
Yeah, we're going to set a new little history out here tonight, though. Haven't you been waiting on this game all year? The Green Bay Packers, by my estimation, are a team, even though they're sitting there at 10-1, have flown under the radar just a little bit. They're so young, but they're so effective at what they do, and it's such a new-look offense for the Green Bay Packers this year. We're going to try and break it down for you a little bit tonight. I think you're going to enjoy watching it.
We have a lot of stars to watch tonight. We're also going to be keeping our eye on number 81. What did he say to Dion? I love me some me. He's having a special kind of season. He's on a special kind of role.
Yeah, he is. But for me, this is going to be a matchup tough to keep my eyes off of because he goes against Al Harris, one of the best cover corners in all of football, and Al Harris can't wait to get his hands on T.O.
Not that he was going to, but Al Harris won't be able to follow him all over the field tonight because Woodson is down on the other side. Speaking of other side, let's go on down to the sidelines right now where Adam Schefter is a special guest. Adam?
Thanks very much, Brian. We're here with Rodgers, Staubach, the great former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, and Roger, Tony Romo and Brett Favre, the two highest-rated quarterbacks in the NFC. What are your impressions of each quarterback?
Well, you got a history of Brett Favre that's as good as it gets in the NFL for a quarterback. He's a great guy. He's a winner. And Tony's, I saw the instincts of Tony last year to become a heck of an NFL quarterback, and he continues to amaze everyone when they watch him play. So he's got some Favre in him, but he's got a ways to go to prove that he's the Brett Favre of the future, but they're both great quarterbacks.
Is this Dallas Cowboys team good enough to win a Super Bowl?
This Dallas Cowboy football team's a very good team. They've got good talent. They play together. They're well coached, and they definitely have a shot at, they got to take it game to game, but they have a very good shot of being world champions this year.
Roger, thanks very much for the time. Brian, back to you.
All right, Adam, thanks so very much. Chris, Roger looks in game shape.
He's ready to go. He always is, though.
We get a look at Tony Romo. He'll have to wait to get his hands on the football as the Packers will receive. Interestingly enough, the Cowboys will be on defense first. They have allowed more opening drive touchdowns than any team in football this year. So that'll bear watching. Nick Folk will get us underway. This one's for control of the NFC. Corin Robinson will take it at the 1. Robinson will work his way back to just beyond the 30 before he's brought down there as Brett Favre brings his guys out on the field. Let's set the Packers offense. Already a 3-time MVP, Brad at 38 may be enjoying his finest season. He's thrown for 22 scores and only 8 picks. Ryan Grant has almost single-handedly given Green Bay a running game, but they are still last in the league in rushing. Donald Driver is the Pack's leading receiver, but it's wideout Greg Jennings, who has 9 touchdowns. Chad Clifton at left tackle leads Brett's pack of protectors. He and right tackle Mark Tauscher are the 8-year veterans of a young and a very solid offensive line. Favre will operate out of the gun as he does almost exclusively nowadays.
Here they come right
and already they go to the big 5, the 5 wide. Favre throwing a crossing route. Ruvell Martin gets the first down. Jock Reeves coming up with a hit. Reeves getting a start tonight in place of Anthony Henry. And this is what the Packers want to do. They want to spread you out, and they will throw it. They'll throw about more than 2/3 of the time.
And they don't care which receiver gets it. They think that their depth at wide receiver is their strength. They're going to spread it out, and whichever guy you leave single covered, that's where they're going.
Ryan Grant is the deep back. That's Corey Hall in is the up back. Favre will throw. Far side. Slipping is James Jones. That one falls incomplete. Gives us an opportunity to set the Cowboys' defense. Their base defense is a 3-4. Marcus Spears is supposed to be the headliner of the down 3, but he has only 1 sack. In that category, linebacker DeMarcus Ware leads the boys with 9. Inside backer Brady James is the leading tackle. The Cowboys secondary has had its problems this year. Safety Roy Williams is more of a hitter than a cover guy. As we've noted, Jock Reeves starts tonight for Anthony Henry. The Cowboys now counter with 6 defensive backs for the first time this evening, as Driver goes in motion at the top of the screen. Favre with time, throwing deep, overthrowing. Was going for James Jones. Once again, Jock Reeves on the coverage.
And Jock Reeves is going to be getting a lot of action tonight. The feeling is that they're going to go over the top. They're going to go at Jock Reeves. If they're going to try and throw something underneath, they're going to go at Anthony Henry with his bad ankle. They don't feel like that he can tackle as well as these other defensive backs. But Brett's going to establish early on, he's going to take his shots down the field. The last few games, he's really been working the underneath coverage.
Our first third down opportunity of the night. Looked like Ware may have jumped on this side. Ball's loose. Looks like a Packer has it at the bottom of the pile, but it looks like that DeMarcus Ware on this side, 94, jumped too soon.
I don't think there's much question about it. DeMarcus Ware jumped, was able to get...
Offside, number 94 defense, 5-yard penalty, third down.
I'm sure Chad Clifton was immediately looking out at the official saying, you saw that, right? They're not going to let that one go. Close. He almost got off on the ball, but that's really going to be the matchup this evening. DeMarcus Ware coming around the corner, as will Greg Ellis on the other side. So far tonight, the Dallas Cowboys have just stayed in their base zone defenses. Wade Phillips has a lot of exotic blitzes, a lot of exotic looks on the defensive side, but so far plain vanilla out of Dallas.
And so it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Packers offense. The Packers this year first in the NFC on third down conversions. The Dallas defense first in the NFC defensive. Vernon Morency has checked into the ball game for Grant. Favre throwing the far side, once again slipping was James Jones, but they're calling it a catch. There's no reason for this turf to be slippery. We have had no precipitation all day.
You know, sometimes you can just get the wrong shoes out there, but we have seen on that side of the field 2 wide receivers slip. And as long as Jock Reeves is over there, they're going to keep throwing it that way. But what we've seen so far is that the 2 tackles have done a nice job. Really, my big question was, could the 2 tackles for the Green Bay Packers handle these outside pass rushers? So far, they've gotten it done.
So far, they have indeed. This is Grant with his first carry of the night. And that's about all they want from him. It's just enough to keep Dallas honest.
But Ryan Grant is a guy that, since he's been inserted into the starting lineup, has really put up some shocking numbers. As a matter of fact, he has been the leading rusher in the National Football League since he's been inserted. It's a little surprising to see this. There's a couple of maybe unexpected kind of names on there, but Ryan Grant, since week 8, is the leading rusher in the NFL.
He's a guy they got from the Giants for a draft pick. He'd been on the Giants practice squad. A guy out of Notre Dame. This is Grant again, this side, working his way close to the first down marker. Still appears to be at least 2 yards short.
So far, the Packers have shown just about everything. They've come back the last couple of plays with the tight end, the running back. We've seen the I formation. We've seen the 4 wide receivers. We've seen the 5 wide receivers. And really what Mike McCarthy's doing is he just says, okay, I want to take a look at how you're going to play all these various looks. So he's just about gone through the whole shuffle. Now comes back again in the I formation.
He's come back with 2 tight ends, and John Kuhn has checked in as the up back. That's Vernon Morency in motion at the top of your screen. Favre throwing this side. He's got Driver open. In and out of his hands, Terrence Newman there with pretty good coverage. Newman closed fast.
A little bit surprising that that's the matchup that Brett would have wanted there. He gets one-on-one on the outside, and Donald Driver, one of his favorite receivers, but Terrence Newman is the one guy that he would have liked to avoid tonight. Really terrific coverage right there. He never got his head turned around, but didn't interfere, and Donald Driver unable to come up with it. Thought they might go for it here on 3rd and 1 early.
Instead, we'll see Mason Crosby. He'll try a 47-yard field goal, rookie out of Colorado, from the hold of John Ryan. This one's true. And it's the Packers that get on the board first here in Texas. Crosby with a 47-yard field goal has the Pack up 3-0. We're back in a moment. straight games with a touchdown for Romo. This is Mason Crosby. Kicking it away, Miles Austin will field it at his 10. Austin with some running room, forced out of bounds on the far side. Good field position for the Packer offense. Romo and company coming on the field trailing 3-0. Back in a moment. Log on to IWantNFLNetwork.com to find out how to get the only television network that's dedicated to the NFL 24/7, 365 days a year. IWantNFLNetwork.com. NFL Network, your home for football, 24/7. Tony Romo and the Cowboys offense starting with good field position at their own 45. This is Jones getting almost nothing in the middle of the Green Bay defense. Gives us an opportunity to set the folks who are going to be joining Romo tonight. Romo has already tied the Dallas franchise record for a touchdown pass in a season with 29. He's the top-rated passer in the conference. Julius Jones, who just carried, will get the start at running back. As always, he will share time with Marion Barber. Terrell Owens enjoying an all-pro season. 13 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. Tight end Jason Witten's having a big year, too. Up front, Cowboys are as big as any team in the league. Adams, Kosher, Gerard, Davis, and Colombo average 6'6" and a whopping 324 pounds. Romo will throw on second down, far side. Completes to Owens and shoved out of bounds. Harris got his hands on it. He's saying he got his hands on it before Owens went out of bounds. Officials gathering on the far side. We've already got a flag. This one's going to be on Harris for throwing it down, but let's watch it.
It was awfully close down, and you don't know exactly when the whistle blew. He blew it down in the field of play. My guess is they're going to call forward progress on that one. But it was a really headsy play by Al Harris. We've got the matchup we were looking for all night. Those two have been one-on-one matched up in the first couple plays.
On the field is a catch. Forward progress stopped. After the play, delay of game. Defense, number 21, spiking the ball into the ground.
Okay, John Perry means 31, Al Harris, who obviously had ball and both feet down. But as you heard, forward progress had been declared.
And right there, they're going to say it was down. And to the referee's credit, I will say you saw him come in and signal continue the clock running, which means that he was calling forward progress at that point, and in his estimation, he was calling it just before the ball was stripped out. Clearly, it was stripped out before T.O. went out of bounds, but he called forward progress on the field at that point.
As you can see, Mike McCarthy having a conversation with the field judge and our referee, John Perry.
No question about the fact that it was a catch. Of course, the new interpretation of a catch this year in the NFL, you catch it, you get 2 feet down. That's the answer, and it looks like
he's going to throw his flag.
Challenge it.
Is challenging the ruling on the field of a catch versus an incomplete pass.
So he cannot challenge Harris gaining control, but he can challenge whether or not this is truly a catch. And so John Perry will go under the hood, and we'll find out what he determines when we come back right after this. We're back at Texas Stadium. Well, Al Harris can laugh about it now, but he wasn't laughing a moment ago when he spiked the ball in anger. Here's what's interesting about this. If you watch the side judge, Larry Harris, come in from the right of the screen, he signals that it's possession the other way.
But the other official put the whistle.
Green Bay will be charged with the first team timeout. 1st and 10.
As you heard, the call on the field was upheld. And so it'll be 1st and 10 Cowboys. McCarthy's still not satisfied with the explanation.
Yeah, and the hard part for Mike McCarthy is the official who blew the play dead was in no position to see what was going on with the football. The other official who pointed in Green Bay's direction had the clear view of it, and Mike McCarthy saying, why was he blowing the play dead when clearly that's not what was happening? But it didn't matter. Once the play is blown dead at that point, what happened subsequent to that is not relevant.
After all that, it's 1st down Cowboys, the 37. They're on the short end of a 3-0 score. We haven't even played 5 minutes yet, and we've had a wealth of action. Splits Creighton wide right. Looks right, flips back left. This is Jones. Gets a block on the outside. Gets a 1st down as he moves it down inside the 20. Call it the 22-yard line.
One of the problems that you have from a defensive matchup standpoint is Terrell Owens draws so much attention. That time he was down on the slot on the right, and you know defensively the Packers are trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to switch this off? Who's got this? Al Harris didn't move down on him, and all of a sudden they slip the screen out the other way. That's the sort of hocus pocus you can do when you've got a dominant player like T.O.
Jones still in. That's Oliver Hoyt as the upback. The give is to Jones following Hoyt's lead to about the 11-yard line. Gives us a chance to catch our breath and set Green Bay's defense. Unheralded Aaron Campman leads the NFL in sacks. All year the Packers have generated great quarterback pressure with just their front four. Linebackers Brady Papinga and A.J. Hawk flank Nick Barnett in the middle. He is Green Bay's leading tackler. In the secondary, Pro Bowler Charles Woodson is out. Jarrett Bush starts. On the other side, Al Harris, we've already seen him. He's as fine a cornerback as there is in football. And there's Charles Woodson. He's got a bad toe, injured it last week in the victory over the Lions. He was a game-time decision, came out here before kickoff and tried it and just couldn't get it done. Owens in the backfield as Romo throws, far side, was going for Creighton, but that was Jarrett Bush defending.
That's Jarrett Bush, who's in the lineup for Charles Woodson tonight, and T.O. is going to check him out early, too, anytime he sees man coverage. But that's really the key to this Green Bay Packers defense. They will play man-to-man coverage on the outside. That's really a nice play by Bush. He kept his eye back in the backfield the whole time. But the Packers are going to play some man-to-man on the outside, which allows them to match up a little better against this huge Dallas offensive line inside.
Bush, a second-year man out of Utah State, will get his work this evening. This time he comes this side, and he's matched up with Sam Hurd. They'll give it inside to Julius Jones, and he'll be short of the first down mark.
Well, that time it was Green Bay going to a soft pass defense, two safeties back in the end zone, and so Dallas tries to counter with their big offensive line, pulling Leonard Davis around and thinking they could just overpower the Green Bay Packers at that point. Wasn't a bad call, but Green Bay stood up and made a play.
The crowd doesn't like it, but the Packers will go for the tie. Nick Folk, as you can see, rookie kicker out of Arizona, is on for what will be a 26-yard attempt. Folk makes it good. We've got a tie ball game. 8:23 to go in the first quarter. It's all tied at 3-3. And folks are already buzzing about this play. We'll put our referee under the hood. With Ruvell Martin, 82, and Donald Driver, 80. They're about to come back to work as the Cowboys have just tied this ball game up at 3. A pair of field goals, the only scoring of this game. Jason Garrett talking it over with Tony Romo on the opposite sideline. Nick Folk kicking off for the second time tonight. And this one is Tramon Williams. Takes it, runs into his own blocker, but bounces it outside, tries to reverse field, loses his footing. And he's brought down at the 19-yard line. The Dallas drive was 7 plays, 47 yards, consumed just a shade over 3 minutes before Folk kicked the 26-yard field goal. The key play of that drive was the disputed reception by Terrell Owens. It could have been a turnover heading the opposite way. But that's a woulda, shoulda, coulda.
It's like a video game.
You
That's
like that one?
cool. Did you come up with that?
Yeah, I wish I could say I did. I think it was Craig's idea.
Pretty good stuff. Well, at least in round one here, we had the Green Bay Packers offensive line doing a nice job keeping the protection for Brett Favre. Let's see now if the Cowboys come back with some blitzes.
That's Corin Robinson in motion to the slot. Favre finds him, and he's pushed out of bounds as he crosses the 26-yard line. Kevin Burnett pushing him out.
One of the big advantages I felt like the Green Bay Packers had in this game as Roy Williams comes back into the ball game is that when you get this game played in space, in other words, everybody's spread out, the athletes on Green Bay's side are better than the athletes on Dallas's side in the secondary. They're faster, they're more athletic, and so you're going to see Green Bay trying to keep everybody spread out tonight.
2nd and 3 for one of the few times tonight we see Brett under center. He pitches back to Ryan Grant, and he's popped. Roy Williams.
Oh, my goodness. I think Roy Williams is a little frustrated by the fact that he has not been playing quite as much as he would like. Obviously, when you get in a game like this, there's more defensive backs, more cover corners in the game. And Roy Williams said, don't forget about me. Oh, my goodness. He could play middle linebacker. He could play strong safety. That's an angry dude right there. Wow.
It brings us to a 3rd and 3 from 26. Favre goes to 5 wide again. Under pressure, Favre hit, delivers low to James Jones. Incomplete, and the Packers will be forced to punt.
And that is not a good sign for Brett Favre. That's the first time Dallas has brought pressure tonight, and they got there. He had 4 wide receivers to the top of the screen, 1 down to the bottom. I'm surprised that he tried to hold it as long as he did. Actually, the protection wasn't all that bad. Brett has been getting the ball out of his hand much faster than that. All you're doing now is saying, all right, here comes the invitation. We're going to blitz more.
Credit the rookie, Anthony Spencer, rookie out of Purdue, with getting there in a hurry. And so John Ryan punts this one away. Patrick Creighton getting what he can. Scrambles to about the 37-yard line. Tony Romo and the Cowboys offense coming back on the field when we come back.
Favre's going to have to deal with all night tonight. That time they had Greg Ellis and DeMarcus Ware on the same side. But there was Kevin Burnett, number 57, who's going to drop back underneath any sort of hot read that Brett may have had. And he had to hold it just long enough for Spencer to get there around the corner.
We're seeing Marion Barber in for Julius Jones for the first time tonight, and Barber will get it. To try it off left tackle, moves his way across the 40, brought down in the arms of A.J. Hawk. There's Burnett.
And he's their cover linebacker. He's going to have a lot to do with what happens tonight, as will Marion Barber. Marion Barber's a very exciting back, averaging almost 5 yards per carry over the last couple of years, and a unique kind of guy. He doesn't always go to where the hole is. He's sort of like a crab. You ever seen a crab run and then change directions and go out the other way?
Mike McCarthy characterized him as the heartbeat of Green Bay's offense. He brings a lot of heart to the field, that's for sure. And Romo will throw far side, completing to Owens. He's pushed out of bounds, would appear to have the first down for Al Harris Gotson.
Well, it's interesting. They're not afraid of Al Harris by any means, and that time Al gave him a little space over there, and Tony Romo took advantage of it. Really, Al Harris's best chance tonight going against T.O. is to be able to get to the line of scrimmage. It's one of the most physical corners that there is. He's surprisingly strong. When you see him get his hands on receivers, they generally don't go very far.
And a durable guy, too. Hasn't missed a game since '98, back in his Philadelphia days. Gets Romo a new set of downs. Does that completion to Owens. The pitch will be once again to Barber, sidestepping one tackle but not getting very far. Give him a gain of 3 before Nick Barnett drags him down. For those of you joining us on NFL.com and NFL Mobile, welcome to Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. This game, of course, has generated an awful lot of print and discussion about the current dispute ongoing between NFL Network, NFL, and the cable companies. It would take us, what would you say, about 5 hours to explain it fully?
No, it'd take me 0 seconds. I'm not talking about it. Have at it, big boy.
Suffice it to say, we just join with all football fans and hoping this can be settled sometime soon so you can watch games like this one. Marion Barber getting it inside, would appear to have the first down. He's got running one. Gets into the next level. Brought down by Atari Bigby and A.J. Hawk. It'll be another first down for Dallas.
Jason Garrett with another nice call there. Obviously one of the up-and-coming young stars. That time he had Marion Barber off to the side. They get the big double team inside between Andrew Gerard and Leonard Davis. About as much mass as you're ever going to find between a center and a guard in the National Football League. And Marion Barber staying on those two much better tonight than I've actually seen him on film.
Give Barber a credit for a 16-yard gain. Owens coming in motion towards us. Romo will throw on first down for Owens, but overthrowing him.
One of the strategies for T.O. tonight is to move him around a little bit and not just sit on the line of scrimmage and let Al Harris try and get a piece of him. That time they motion him back into the backfield and then put him on an out route to the outside. It was Romo just missing that throw, but they really don't want to see T.O. all night just lined up and getting banged by Al Harris.
And so Jason Garrett won't let that happen.
No, he won't. I mean, you want to say it's a pure man-to-man matchup, but it's really not because the Cowboys aren't going to allow it to happen.
This time Harris does have Owens at the top of your screen, but neither's involved as Barber gets it. And once more, it's A.J. Hawk applying it. Marion Barber, we asked Coach Mike McCarthy about him, and he said this guy is the heartbeat of their offense. He puts him in a class with LT and with Adrian Peterson. He says he's that good.
Yeah, they were hoping to see a lot of Julius Jones tonight. That probably the one where he went back into the end zone, probably the most famous play he's had this year. Maybe the greatest escape that we've seen in the NFL. Looked like a sure safety, and somehow he found his way out and made a little gain out of it.
Gave Wade Phillips palpitations. So it's 3rd and long for Romo and the Cowboys offense. You got to look at Aaron Campman leading the NFL in sacks. He's got 11, but he stood up on this side. Romo in and out of the hands of Owens. He was right at the marker and could not bring that one in.
Well, there was exactly what we've been talking about. They bring T.O. in motion, so Al Harris has to pass him off to Frank Walker inside. And, of course, Frank Walker nowhere near the cover man that Al Harris is. And T.O.'s in a perfect position, made kind of a casual move to the ball, and really should have made that catch for a first down.
And so Nick Folk will come on and try this one from 51 yards. His long, he's a rookie this year, his longest is 53. It's true enough. It's long enough. And so with 3:15 to play in the first period, the Cowboys get another field goal out of Folk. They're leading at 6-3. By Sears. Inside, we've got ourselves a 6-3 ball game. The only scoring has been provided by the only 2 rookie kickers in the league this year, Nick Folk and Mason Crosby.
When you're at Texas Stadium, you truly need a blimp to just hover over that little hole, don't you? It'd be hard to be in the plane to try and watch the ball game in it.
It's a pretty sight, though, reflected against the night sky like that. And so Folk's been a busy man this evening. He'll kick this one away. That's Tramon Williams once again, and Williams again running into his blockers. He crosses the 20, giving credit to the 23. And that's where Brett Favre once again go to work. So the big question is, will they kick to Devin Hester? Next Thursday, the Redskins get their turn. NFL Network brings you the Bears and the Redskins in an NFC showdown. That's next Thursday at 8 Eastern on NFL Network. Why would you kick to?
The big answer is no. Nobody ever again kicks him the ball. I actually would like to see a rule put in place that even punts can't be kicked out of bounds. I know coffin corner and all that kind of stuff. I love watching punt returns.
But last week the Broncos tried to squib it and the Bears wound up with position at midfield.
What are you going to do?
Don't ask Mike Shanahan. I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about it. First down from the Packers, for the Packers from the 24. Fake that time to Grant, and Favre will throw over the middle. This one's going to be picked off. That's Ken Hamlin. Hamlin brings it back to the Packer 40. Brett appeared to be hit as he was throwing, I think, Stephen Bowen. Second-year man out of Hofstra was the defender who got there and forced Brett to put up a quacker.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Brett even considered this one. They came out in a 2-safety look. He goes play action on first down, thinking maybe they can get one over the top, but really the Cowboys didn't really bite on it at all. He took a big shot just as he was throwing it, and that's why the ball went off the way that it did. But honestly, it wasn't there anyway. It's a ball that he should not have thrown from the beginning.
That's not the Brett we've seen this season.
No, and I'm surprised. I don't know why they're thinking they've got to go big, because the Cowboys are really playing them pretty softly.
Great field position again for Romo and the Cowboys offense from the Packer 41. Romo throwing on the run into the arms of Owens. He's knocked down inside the 10. Nick Collins applying the hit, but it'll be first and goal, Cowboys. Romo with play action, bootleg this side, and he throws very well on the run.
Yeah, and that time the 2 safeties for the Green Bay Packers got caught snoozing on that one. Nick Collins and Atari Bigby completely bought into the play fake, and a great job by Tony Romo at least checking up the field for T.O., because initially their first read so often is Jason Witten in the flat, but he was patient enough to look up the field and got the big play.
Call it first and goal from the 7. Witten leading Jones into the hole, and he'll make his way to the 4-yard line. And Brett there, as you can see, talking it over, wondering what happened there. That's his first interception, 139 attempts. But probably of more importance to McCarthy right now is that's the second good lick that Brett has taken tonight. And that's something he hasn't been doing all season long.
Yeah, and to be honest, this really hasn't been the kind of offense that we've seen lately out of the Packers. Now, maybe they're thinking that they were going to play up underneath or bring pressure, and they were going to have to throw deep to try and back them off a little bit. But I think the underneath stuff is still there, and they've been a little impatient in trying to take the big shots.
Second and goal from the 3. Jones is the lone back as Romo operates from the gun. Romo with lots of time, looking for Creighton, finding him, touchdown Cowboys. They made that look easy. Patrick Creighton sprinted to the far left, and then the Romo, lots of time, just cut it back inside.
That was way too easy right there. Patrick Creighton just, that time we saw for the first time the fact that Jared Bush filling in for Charles Woodson was just no match whatsoever for Patrick Creighton, who's coming back off of the injury. They're excited to have him back.
And so Nick Folk will punctuate the score, and the Cowboys have taken a 10-point lead with 1:14 to play in the first. So, young man enjoying a fine night. He hadn't even played a full quarter yet.
16-5 as the Cowboys starter, and over his first 21 starts, Tony Romo, 5,600 yards. Only Kurt Warner's gotten off to a faster start in NFL history. It's absolutely remarkable what this undrafted young man is doing in the NFL.
We'll get to it later, but how about that graphic that we've got on the quarterbacks who were drafted ahead of Tony Romo? It's an interesting list. We'll share it with you later. Corin Robinson will get his second chance to return a kickoff tonight, but he's not going very far. He'll be brought down at the 28. Remember, you can vote for the 2008 Pro Bowl at NFL.com/probably, or you can text PRO to 7777 via your Sprint service. Also register to win a trip to the 2008 Pro Bowl in Hawaii. All that exclusively at NFL.com. Do you understand that high-tech stuff?
The what?
You understand that high-tech stuff?
Oh, yeah. I got it all covered, brother.
You're better than me.
I can turn on my TV and everything now.
Rare to see Favre under center these days. Instead of operating from the gun, he'll play action, come back to this side. Ryan Grant not going very far. Fine play there by Brady James, who fought off a block and grabbed Grant. Been quite a year for Brett Favre. As you can see, he takes up several pages in the record book.
Yeah,
this is 249th consecutive start, 269 with playoffs. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, but I've enjoyed watching him grow as a quarterback. The hard part is talking about his growth after the interception he just threw. That was kind of the old look Brett Favre, and this year we've seen a much more patient version of that. And I hope the Packers kind of get back to their offense because they're good at it and you'd have fun watching it.
Play action again, this time to the other side, and Favre throwing long, overthrowing Donald Driver. He'll be left with 3rd and 6.
And they're going to a pretty traditional looking offense right now. Play action, throwing the ball down the field, and you would say, okay, well, that makes sense. I've seen a lot of teams in the NFL do this. But I still feel like that their best advantage offensively is to put all their weapons on the field, and their weapons are their wide receivers. Spread the thing out, pick them apart the way we've seen them do it. They've been coming in, and they have, again, a tight end and a running back in. Maybe the protection issues are just too much for him.
Well, after he released that one, Favre was hit again the 3rd time. Now, this one, Chris Canty made a lick on him. Vernon Morency is in the backfield with Favre. He will throw. We've got a flag in and out of the hands of James Jones. We've got a flag in the secondary.
12 men on the field. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
That's one way to get it done.
No wonder they're so good. A lot of sub packages in this game as the Dallas Cowboys defensively are trying to match wits with what Green Bay is doing on the offensive side. There's defensive coordinator Brian Stewart, came over from San Diego with Wade Phillips, was the secondary coach over there. Wade rolling his eyes a bit on that one because that went from a we get off the field down to a 3rd and 1, but this really has not been the strength of the Green Bay Packers either because of their lack of a running game. We've already seen them once earlier in the game, 3rd and 1, throw it deep. Let's see what they come back with here.
They are dead last in the NFL in running the football. We've got a timeout, and they signal timeout Dallas, but it looks like Ken Hamlin says, I didn't do it.
That's the first charge timeout, Dallas. 30-second timeout.
With 10 seconds to play in the first quarter. Wade Phillips has something to say about it, too. Looks like they weren't sure if they wanted the timeout.
I didn't know maybe if Wade Phillips said, wait a minute, we just counted our guys and we only had 11 out there, but I don't see a challenge flag of any kind.
Let's take a look. You count them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I count 12.
Okay, you count better than I do.
I count 12. They got 6 on the line, and they got 6 in the back. Where I come from, that's 12.
Really a big play right now for the Green Bay Packers. They need to keep the football for a little while, keep this defense off the field because this is turning Dallas's way early.
They'll run for it. Ryan Grant will get it. Ryan Grant's got nothing but open space in front of him. Touchdown, Packers. And just like that, with 1 second to play in the quarter, the Packers pulled to within 3. What a lead block by John Kuhn.
Tremendous block by Kuhn, but Jason Spitz and Scott Wells on the double team that time inside. Really what made this one happen. And the Cowboys with 2 deep safeties, I bet you they just cannot believe that that thing sprung right up the middle for a touchdown like that against a Green Bay offense that's not supposed to run it so well.
Well, it's their longest run of the year, 62-yard sprint by Grant. And Crosby pulls them to within 3 with just 1 second to play in the first period. Hamlin wondering what happened. And Ryan Grant saying, see, I told the Giants I could run. I don't know why they didn't keep it.
Double team inside between center Scott Wells and Jason Spitz. And then it was John Kuhn who's been getting an opportunity to play because of a neck injury to Corey Hall more and more every single week. See him peel off the last one, Aiken Adele right there, and then they were just off. The 2 safeties basically ran into each other, Ken Hamlin and Roy Williams. It's amazing that one of those 2 didn't find a way to get him on the ground. I mean, they just completely fanned on the play, and you're talking about 2 of the better tackling safeties, especially Roy Williams in the game. It's just bizarre that they ran between those 2 guys.
And Wade Phillips has to be bemoaning that 12 men on the field penalty that basically gave them a 3rd and short.
No question about it. A huge mistake that time on the part of the Cowboys. Gave Brett Favre one more opportunity, and they paid a heavy price.
Hamlin and Williams wondering what happened.
You feel like, okay, if they had been up there in a single safety kind of look and really pressuring it, sometimes those things pop out. But they were essentially almost in a pass protection look with 2 safeties, assuring that Brett didn't try and take a shot down the field. There they go with the shot right up the middle. That's really an easy call. Anytime you see those 2 deep safeties on a 3rd and 1, you got to attack them.
Well, the last time the NFL matched 10-1 teams was 17 years ago. That one onside attempt by the Packers. But that one didn't appear to go 10 yards before Mason Crosby tucked a hand to it.
We got a flag down on the field,
Yeah,
though.
I think that's because he put a hand to it, but we'll see.
Well, McCarthy showing he's not afraid.
Let's watch it one more time. Was it him or was it Kuhn that put a hand to it? Oh, it comes up and hits
touch
Kuhn.
on the kick. On the kicking team, by rule, 5-yard penalty, re-kick. Please reset the game clock with 1 second.
Well, John Kuhn has been a busy man this last minute. He laid the key block for the 62-yard sprint of Ryan Grant, but that time he was only doing his job. The ball came up and hit it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Kuhn, I think, his job on that one was to simply go and block so the kicker could recover the ball. He's supposed to take out the next wave down there, so he really wasn't even paying too much attention to the ball, and probably should have. I mean, we were seeing some bizarre plays early in this game. That would have been a huge momentum shift right there for the Green Bay Packers. I like the way Mike McCarthy's playing this thing.
Pretty big gamble as we have just one tick of the clock left in the first quarter.
Now, what the heck? You haven't stopped them defensively anyway. What difference does it make if they have to go 40 or 70?
This one we're sure Crosby will kick away. Indeed, he does. Miles Austin will get it. Austin's got some room on this side, needs a block. Cuts it back and gets it to midfield, but we've got a flag, so we'll hold it here. John Perry's been a busy man this evening.
I think it was Pat McQuiston, number 77, who got the hold.
During the return, holding, number 25, 10-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 10. That's the end of the first quarter.
That was Patrick Watkins' flag. Doesn't mean McQuiston didn't. We've had a lot of fireworks here. Kickoff. They still start at the 24. 13-10 ball game.
Cowboys coming out in a little bunch formation over here to the left.
This is Sam Hurd coming wide to the bottom of your screen. Romo with lots of time will throw for Owens. He's got him deep into Packer territory, brought down inside the 30. Owens escaping Atari Bigby on the coverage.
One of the things we're seeing more and more of in the National Football League is bringing speed receivers inside. There's a lot of Tampa 2 coverage being played where middle linebackers are expected to be able to run down the middle of the field. That time, A.J. Hawk was trying to run with Terrell Owens, and obviously as fast as Hawk is, that's a mismatch. Atari Bigby trying to catch him over the top. But one of the fears that the Packers had is, forget what T.O.'s 40 time is. When this guy gets rolling, he runs away from everybody.
Credit Owens with 48 yards on that reception. He's already over the 100-yard mark tonight. This is Jones in the first down carry. Along with us this evening, one of the all-time greats everywhere, but also put in his time in the silver and blue, Mr. Deion Sanders. Deion, what are you seeing down there?
I love what Jason Garrett is doing with T.O. He's moving him, he's shifting them. Thing about the Green Bay Packers, they're getting outside themselves. They're known as a man-to-man bumper run corner, and they're playing a lot of zone, which allows T.O. to motion out to get Al Harris from in front of them, and they don't want Al Harris in front of T.O. outside the numbers, and he's able to have his way with the linebackers and some of the slower safeties.
Give us a why there, Deion. Why are they getting away from what they normally do defensively?
I think because Charles Woodson, he's not playing, and they don't want Bush to be matched up with T.O. Bush is actually winning the battle with Patrick Creighton. He gave up one play, no touchdown.
Romo to Anthony Fasano, just over the outstretched arm of Jared Bush. Touchdown, Cowboys. Just like that, 3 plays. And the Cowboys are in position to once again assume a 10-point lead.
I tell you, Tony Romo is doing a fantastic job. He's taken it to another level. That time with his eyes, he was able to freeze the safety as he looked at Jason Witten down the middle of the field and then threw it back, taking advantage of Bush. That's about the 2nd or 3rd touchdown pass now I've seen from Romo, where basically the touchdown came from his use of his eyes, moving safeties out of the way.
We'll hear more from Deion in just a little bit. It took the Cowboys only 1:40 to get that score back. They're leading it 20-10.
Right down the middle of the field at Jason Witten and then come back late. Once he sees Bigby make the move towards Witten, it was over at that point. That's the kind of sophisticated play we're seeing out of Tony Romo that is just remarkable for a player this young.
Did Bush get caught peeking inside a little bit?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I mean, we're talking about Tom Brady, Peyton Manning kind of play out of this young man. I mean, he really, for a guy just playing in his 2nd year, is just remarkable.
And so Tramon Williams will bring this one back from 1 yard back in his end zone. We have a flag on this side, so we'll keep it here.
You know, you always have concerns and worry. A young player, this is a big moment, a big kind of playoff atmosphere.
During the return, holding, number 57, 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10, Green Bay.
How's he going to handle the pressure? You know, I've never seen him do anything but handle the pressure, even in the absolute worst of moments. You know, the Seattle fumble and all that went with it, and would he crumble? Could he possibly handle it? And he just kind of had a smile on his face. He answered everybody's questions. He didn't duck anybody. He admitted fully it was his fault that they didn't get to move on in the playoffs. And when you have that kind of credibility with your quarterback position on a football team, boy, it goes a long way.
That was the first touchdown in the career of Anthony Fasano, second-year man out of Notre Dame. Give the Dallas Drive credit, 3 plays, 76 yards. Let's go back down to the field. And Dion, you know Tony pretty well. You heard what Chris was saying.
Chris is absolutely right. Tony Romo, not only is he a great football player, he's a great athlete. We played basketball together quite a bit in the offseason. He's not rattled, nor this big matchup bring him any inconsistencies. And one thing that we're not understanding, he's not up under any pressure. He's taking his time. He's back there. He has all day to throw.
You played basketball with Romo in the offseason?
And Romo is pretty good.
How is Dion?
I'm nice.
That was a no-doubter right there.
2nd and 7 from the 19. A high pitch this side to Grant, but he would appear to have enough for the first down. Roy Williams coming up to make the stick.
You know, Dion, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is how hard is it? It almost looks like the Packers have given up on the idea that if T.O. goes in motion, that Al Harris can stay with him because of the fear of getting rubbed off or picked or whatever the case may be. How difficult is that as a corner?
It's quite difficult because you have 3 receivers out there and you're really playing a diamond. Someone has to have the point, and one guy on the outside and one guy on the inside. And that's tough to follow a guy in motion and maintain him man-to-man.
New set of downs for Favre. Flea flicker, Favre looking deep. Driver is well covered. Ken Hamlin was actually closer to making that reception than Driver. Jock Reeves was flanking him on one side, but it was Hamlin who had the best shot at the ball. Dion, thanks very much. We'll let you get set for halftime, pal.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that time Brett goes down the field, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Greg Jennings was sitting wide open out here on the outside as that secondary look. Again, Brett's impatience that time cost him on that one. He comes across the field. He's got a wide open look. Down the field, there were 2 safeties back there waiting on it. You've got to come down to that second look.
Brett only 4 of 11 so far tonight for 37 yards and a pick. 2nd and 10. He'll throw long again. And again he throws in a double coverage. This one could have been easily picked off by Patrick Watkins. But it falls incomplete.
I just wonder if the people in Green Bay are doing what I'm doing, which is kind of shaking my head and going, okay, maybe they've changed game plans here. We saw them come out early in that first drive, go 4 and 5 wide receivers, kind of, boom, quick throws, get it out of there. And it just, for whatever reason, I think Brett feels like that tonight the weakness of the Dallas Cowboys defense is down the field, and he's going to take his shots, although we haven't seen a whole lot of success.
And so he's faced with 3rd and 10. And of course he'll have to throw over the middle, completes this one. That's James Jones, gets him out of their own end, gets it back to the 45. Jock Reeves bringing him down.
Again, Brett under pressure, but he was able to fall off his back foot, and a guy that, I'm not sure that Brett Favre is the guy that you want to put together a coaching reel and say, son, play quarterback like this. But he is going to throw off his back foot, get whacked once again, and just basically lob it in. Beautifully thrown football that time by Brett.
Pickup of 19 for Favre. New set of downs from the 45. Grant takes the pitch, looking for something on the left side, finding nothing. Chris Canty, 3rd-year man out of Virginia.
Chris Canty, I think, is the best defensive lineman out here. He's not a #1 draft pick like a Marcus Spears or a DeMarcus Ware, but he's a big guy that can do both. He's a physical presence in the pass rush, has pretty nice arm over kind of moves, but more importantly, when you're a 34 in, you have to be able to make plays like that. You have to be a rock in the running game. Now the Cowboys, they're more of a penetration kind of a 34 team as opposed to a Bill Parcells sort of hit, read, and react sort of 34.
Call it 2nd and 12. This one hit. Fred, arm was hit as he released it. They're calling this one interception.
And Brett may be hurt.
Terrence Newman got his hands under it. At the 45, it's going the other way. Nathan Jones was the guy applying the pressure. Favre's arm hit as he tried to throw, and the Cowboys have their second turnover of the night. We'll be back in just a moment. 20-10. Dallas has come to the sidelines and seems to be no worse for wear. But the Cowboys with good field position again, starting from the Green Bay 45, and Romo wants it all. We're going to get a flag there. Inside the 5, Jarrett Bush running over Miles Austin. This will be 1st and goal, Dallas.
Well, they have been all over Jarrett Bush tonight. Of course, replacing Charles Woodson in the lineup.
Pass interference. Number 24 defense. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. 1st and 10.
One of the nice things, though, that happened a week ago with Patrick Creighton out, they found out more about Sam Hurd and Miles Austin. Miles Austin got an opportunity to play, and they were really impressed with the fact that he was able to play that he did. The game wasn't too big for him, so they felt good about bringing him back here tonight. Charles Woodson saying, I would need a piece of something out there. It's killing them that
that's a big loss.
Top cover guy, or one of their top cover guys, can't play.
A 40-yard penalty, and Marion Barber has checked in the backfield.
Boy, Tony Romo's doing a great job.
Ball start. Number 75 offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Mark Palumbo getting a little eager on his side.
He's doing a great job, Tony Romo, of finding the single coverage. You know, and a big part of it, obviously, has been the play of this massive offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. He's sitting comfortably back there. He's got time to look 1, 2, 3. And the thing that I like about him is he's not focusing in on just Terrell Owens. He's going after the weakness of the defense, which in this case is Jarrett Bush.
Well, this time Bush is at the top of the screen, and Romo is rolling that way. He'll lob it into the end zone, in and out of the arms of Anthony Fasano. He's saying I held it long enough, but he's not getting much agreement.
Doesn't matter. When you make a catch going to the ground, you have to maintain possession all the way to the ground. Did he catch it? Maybe he did, but it really is not even a relevant discussion. He has it. When you're going to the ground on your own, it doesn't matter. That is an incomplete pass. It's not even close. They shouldn't challenge it. It's indisputable.
Well, you and I know that, but Wade Phillips is having a say on the far side. He's not happy.
Wade knows better. He's trying to milk it a little bit. I don't think he's throwing that flag. That shows what I know.
Wade looked up at the board as 66,000 did here, and Wade said, I think my man had that.
Dallas is challenging the previous play of an incomplete pass versus a score.
So Fasano goes a whole year and 10 games without one score, picked up one and is trying for a second here inside the first half.
Well, smile on my face, and I would have fun, and I would make jokes, and I would do all the things that he's doing.
Well, let's hear from John Perry.
After reviewing the play stands as called incomplete. The receiver was going to the ground on his own. He must maintain possession of the ball, which he does not. Dallas is charged with their second timeout.
So what makes you think Romo's living a dream? Okay, he's quarterback of an NFL team. He just signed for $67 million. He got an $11 million signing bonus. He dates Carrie Underwood and Jessica Simpson, and he's young and talented and single.
He's not you, but he's close.
Also a scratch golfer, we might add.
Oh, boy.
Call it 2nd down. Owens in motion. And once again, Romo with lots of time.
Good route.
This is easy.
Oh, I love it. What a great route. And there's his popcorn. And Al Harris and the defensive backs for the Green Bay Packers they might as well just have some popcorn and enjoy it too. Woodson's over there going, oh man, I wish I had a chance at this.
And with that one, I believe Terrell Owens becomes the first player in NFL history with touchdown catch and 6 receptions in 7 straight ball games. Nick Folk, once again, is good on the PAT, and the Cowboys have opened it up to a 17-point margin with just under 10 minutes to play in the first half. Is now questionable. We are going to get to see Aaron Rodgers, now a third-year man out of Cal.
Just a shocking development anytime Brett Favre gets injured. Of course, his remarkable streak that's been going on year after year, and all you can say is wow.
249 consecutive starts for Favre. This is Corin Robinson, and he's tackled high. That's Patrick Watkins grabbing him at the 25, and indeed Rodgers will lead the offense onto the field. Rodgers has not seen a lot of action this year. He's thrown only 2 passes, completed both of them, but quite frankly, he gets very few snaps for the Packers.
It's just unsettling almost to see Brett Favre at the year he's having over on the sideline, and you go back to the play that it happens. He missed a blitz. He just simply missed the corner coming off and hitting him, Nate Jones, and as a result, he's sitting on the sideline.
And so Rodgers is being thrown into the fire. That pass batted down by Marcus Spears. Let's get another look at the play on which Favre was injured.
Nate Jones coming off the edge, tried a pump fake, which he's known for. He uses the pump fakes to move defenses. That time he did the pump fake, and Jones was able to get there. He never saw him. If you watch the play, he never looked right at all. If he had, he probably would have thrown hot off to the right side, because there's no way he could have had that one picked up. He didn't have the back in the backfield.
It would appear he slammed his forearm off Jones' helmet. This is Ryan Grant looking for room, cutting back, but getting only about 3 yards.
Let's go back to the touchdown now as Brett's getting a little work on the sidelines. Watch T.O. to your far left, going to come in motion, and this time instead of running the crossing route he's been running all night, as was expected by the Green Bay defense, he turned it up, and that time it was just too much T.O. right there for Nick Collins, and then a little popcorn to go along with it.
That's a prop, and so that'll get a letter from the league.
I don't think he cares.
3rd and 7 for Rodgers and the Packers offense. He'll scramble up inside, look for it himself, and would seem to be close to the marker before being knocked down by Ken Hamlin. He wasn't about to get down either. No feet first for him.
How about that for Aaron Rodgers? That was nice. Little John Elway-esque on the end of that one. When you sit on the bench for year after year behind Brett Favre, you finally get a chance to play. Why not? Take off and just watch him put his head down, spin around, and pick up a first down. Great play.
He's not a small guy. 6'2", listed at 225. New set of downs for the Packer offense, and Rodgers throws over the middle, this time into coverage. Was going for Donald Lee, but it was DeMarcus Ware with a good drop who was in better position.
Boy, DeMarcus Ware, what a tool he is. I don't know if there are many better football players in the league right now than DeMarcus Ware. One of the top pass rushers in the NFL, but he can also do this. He's a true linebacker. He comes across the formation. Rodgers didn't see him, but for a linebacker that weighs 250, 260 pounds to plant and make that kind of turn back on the ball, amazing athleticism.
Says he only plays about 1/4 the time now with his hand on the ground in 3-point stance. He likes standing up in that 3-4 defense. 2nd and 10 will come this side. Donald Lee with his first catch of the night. Gets swung out of bounds there by Greg Ellis.
And Aaron Rodgers, for all the draftniks out there, will remember the day.
Wasn't that painful?
Oh, as he sat in the green room for hour after hour after hour. Initial reports were maybe he'd be a top 2 pick, then a top 5, then a top 10. And there he was at the end of the first round, and the Green Bay Packers were happy to have him. He's a player, there's no question. He's had a lot of experience. Brett a lot of times in the offseason doesn't come back to Green Bay, so he's had a chance to work with this team.
Here's a who to thunk it. Donald Driver and Greg Jennings, the Packers' 2 wideouts. No catches tonight. 3rd and 7. He tries to flip this one on a screen to Morency, but it was ticked. It would appear that Anthony Spencer was the one who got a hand on it. Could have been Hatcher on that side.
One of the problems you have when you're a backup quarterback is, at best, you may get 1 or 2 snaps of offensive drills during the course of the week. So any sort of new play, any sort of new look that they may have put in, it's very doubtful that Aaron Rodgers got a chance to run it. So they're going back to some basic screens and things like that you probably put in the first day of the offense.
John Ryan with a booming punt tries to kill this one inside the 5, and he does. He did. The Packers almost let it get away.
Yeah,
but instead, they've got the Cowboys pinned in deep at the 4-yard line. But the Cowboys have scored on all 5 possessions tonight. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They're leading it 27-10. Favre being tended to. He's got some arm issues. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, for the first time tonight, starting deep in their own territory. The give here is to Marion Barber. Let's check on Favre's status. We'll go downstairs. Adam Schefter. Adam?
Thanks very much, Bryant. They've been massaging the inside of Brett Favre's right arm. He's been gripping a football the entire time. He just let go of it momentarily to show the trainer he now has his arms outstretched. Players have been coming over, asking him what's wrong, and basically Favre has been holding that football, flexing his arm, and having it massaged the entire time. All
right, Adam, thanks very much. We'll check back a little bit later. It's not like Favre has been totally healthy throughout this amazing streak of his starts. I mean, he's actually been on the injury list 49 times during that streak. So the man knows how to play in pain.
Yeah, but you're talking about your right elbow now. That's a different set of circumstances.
Romo throwing long. Owens. He stopped. Harris didn't. And that gets Dallas out of a deep hole.
Aaron Campman almost got there that time on the pressure. Al Harris saying, "This is my bad." He said, talking to Al Harris earlier this week, he said, "You just cannot let T.O. get down the highway." He said, "I would rather him run a slant all day because he's so good at the go. He's so good at the stop at the end of it." That time, Tony Romo just simply sailed it up there and said, "My guy's a little bigger and a little stronger and a little faster, and I'm going to give him a chance on a jump ball."
What a half for Owens. 6 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Marion Barber slips in the backfield, and so no gain on the play. Don't forget, coming up next, it's the Wendy's halftime report. Join Rich Eisen, Steve Mariucci, Deion Sanders, Marshall Falk. Of course, Adam Schefter is going to give us an update at that time on Favre's condition. We'll have highlights, analysis, and much, much more. Pretty easy analysis so far.
Yeah, I don't think Al Harris liked giving up that big play. These two guys going at it pretty good on the outside. T.O. didn't like it back, and they're going to slug away. And Al Harris says, "I'm not a talker out there, but if the other guy starts it, we'll finish it."
Harris lined up with Owens at the top of your screen as Witten comes in motion. He's still looking for his first catch tonight. Romo going for Witten. Leads him a little too much. This one falls incomplete. Will leave the Cowboys with 3rd and 11.
Even when the Green Bay Packers bring pressure, it is to no avail. What's the job this Dallas offensive line is doing? That time the middle linebacker coming on a blitz. The Cowboys are going to step up, and look at the room to step up for Tony Romo. We just don't see him miss those kind of throws very often. When you get protection like that against the blitz, it's an opportunity for a big play because you know it's man coverage back there. That time Romo just missed it.
And the Packers rarely blitz. They generally rely on their front 4 to give them their coverage, and maybe that's part of where they're missing KGB tonight.
No question.
And so it's 3rd and 11. Romo lofts this one. Looks like he wasn't on the same page with Patrick Creighton or Jason Witten. Witten stopped. Creighton stopped on the far side. It fell between the two of them. And so for the first time tonight, the Packers have managed to stop the Cowboys.
I don't think the Cowboys can believe they're walking off the field after that one. They had some people running up wide open that time, had good protection, and for one of the few times all season, Tony Romo just missed.
We get to see punter Matt McBride for the first time. He'll kick it away to Tramon Williams, who's stationed at his own 10-yard line. McBride goes down, but no flag. Williams will field it at his 19 and work his way back to the 26. And that's where Rodgers will come on with 5:23 to play in the half. NFL Total Access has the latest news and information from around the league, featuring exclusive team cam access. It's NFL Total Access Monday through Saturday at 7 Eastern. And, of course, it's only on NFL Network.
Very close that time to roughing the kicker. If you interfere with the plant leg of a punter, that's the 15-yard variety and would have been a first down for the Cowboys. Mike Montgomery that time getting away with one in my estimation. He didn't hit the leg, but the kicker came down on him. The officials let it go.
Rodgers with his second series. Mix up in the backfield, and he has to eat it. He turned to Ryan Grant, but Ryan Grant was heading off to his left. Looks like Rodgers expected something else.
And for Ryan Grant going one way, and Aaron Rodgers goes, somebody please take this football from him. Had to turn around, and Brett's still flexing that elbow. I'm kind of surprised they haven't sent him in for some x-rays, MRIs. Well, I mean, you're talking about the franchise. The Green Bay Packers aren't going to win a whole lot with Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback unless things change drastically.
Especially with less than 5 minutes to play in the first half. Rodgers completes this one outside, first catch of the night for Greg Jennings. He's got some room, and he's got jets. Trips over his own blocker at the 30-yard line.
Well, I knew I could get the Packers going if I just insulted their quarterback. That time, what we've seen out of the Green Bay Packers when they've been good this season is exactly this. Yards after the catch. They're #1 in the NFL. Instead of trying to throw the ball down the field so much, get the ball in the hands of these playmakers and let them take off and make these kind of plays. That's how the Packers have been winning games.
And let me add, Terrence Newman, who's had a tender ankle, just limped to the sideline. He's been replaced in the Cowboys backfield by Nathan Jones. Swings at this side. Jennings suddenly, after all night having no receptions, catches back-to-back balls. He's forced out by Roy Williams.
Well, it's amazing that with Aaron Rodgers in the game, it looks more like the Green Bay offense that I've been studying on tape than it did when Brett was in the game. Now they're getting back to some of their fundamentals, and maybe they're forced to. Maybe they had some special plays they thought would work early on. They've been practicing. They took their shots at them. But now with Aaron Rodgers, they've had to scale it back, and I like it scaled back. I think this is more the way they've played all season.
So it's 2nd and 1 from the 23, and Grant would appear to have the first down. Terrence Newman remains in the sidelines. Newman, perhaps their best corner coming into this game, has, as we said, been dealing with a tender ankle. You can see they're checking it on that Cowboys sideline.
And maybe that's the reason Green Bay's been able to get it going here a little bit, because without question, there is one of the top 5 corners in the National Football League. Now all of a sudden that depth starts to get whittled down more and more. Anthony Henry playing with a bad ankle. Tough.
Henry and Reeves are now the corners. As Rodgers works with a new set of downs, getting pressure inside, doesn't see DeMarcus Ware coming up off his left, and he takes a lick.
And Greg Ellis almost got there that time. He's on the outside working against Mark Tauscher, and Mark Tauscher is just playing on guts alone. He's got a bad ankle. We saw it last week. He had to take himself out of the game, number 65, and he just cannot move. Greg Ellis is getting closer and closer as we go.
And the Packers will have to go some to get this one off before the 2-minute warning. Flips this one, near side, Grant. Nothing happening. We've got a flag. And another Cowboy limps to the sideline. That looks like Aiken. No, that's Brady James. I'm sorry, Kevin Burnett.
And Kevin Burnett is their nickel linebacker.
Offside. Number 33 defense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
You can tell Wade's delighted.
That's Nate Jones, the guy that got the sack. Now, this may be more significant than people think, because as this game goes on and the Packers have to spread it out, now Terrence Newman is on the sideline and their nickel linebacker is on the sideline as well, Kevin Burnett. So the base of their looks when they go into their nickel and dime defense now, 2 of the key components of that sitting over on the sideline.
So we'll take the 2-minute warning with them. The Packers knocking at the door, but they're trailing 27-10 in Texas. Bruised elbow. Romo, meanwhile, has thrown for 3 scores. He's 9 for 15, almost 200 yards on the night.
Doesn't even look like he's broken a sweat yet. That's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
He is cool.
No question about it. And Terrence Newman back in the game now. That's good news for Cowboys fans. There is a huge gap between him as the best corner and then what is underneath him, the other corners for the Cowboys.
Aaron Rodgers has never thrown for a score in the NFL. He pitches far side, Ryan Grant. Stiff arms one tackler, and Grant keeps the feet moving, would appear to have a first down.
That time Chris Canty was there to make the play and just simply overran it. Ryan Grant is going to cut it back underneath. Pretty nice job on the outside by Chad Clifton, giving him that final push. And Ryan Grant's a determined little guy. I don't think that they really were expecting him to perform the way that he has thus far. Brandon Jackson was supposed to be the heir apparent and the guy that was going to take over. But boy, they just cannot get Ryan Grant out of the lineup.
Grant with 90 yards on the night on 10 carries already. And of course, he has a touchdown, that 62-yard sprint. He's been replaced in the backfield by Vernon Morency.
Whoa.
Rodgers had to get rid of this one. That's going to be a flag for ineligible, it would appear. He was getting pressure from Nathan Jones. Jones having a busy night.
Well, they keep bringing him off the right side, Nate Jones. He's the one that hurt Brett Favre, and they really haven't come up with an answer for it yet. They've got to throw it hot. But right now, the Cowboys are taking away those hot throws.
This is going to be an illegal touch. He hit one of his offensive linemen in the back.
Ineligible downfield, number 62 offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So it makes Mr. Rodgers' job a little bit more difficult with 1:12 to play in the first period.
And Junius Costin is in the ball game now. So the injuries continue to mount for the Green Bay Packers. He's playing right guard for Jason Spitz. I'm not sure what happened to Jason Spitz.
Grant remains on the sidelines. Vernon Morency is the lone back with Rodgers, who operates out of the gun from his own 14. Throwing this one and completing it to Driver, but he's going nowhere. That's the busy Mr. Jones again.
Yeah, they're playing a combination coverage now where they're not really playing man coverage over the middle. They're essentially letting the Packers do all their crisscrossing kind of routes, and they're just sitting there waiting for him. Nate Jones, who's been coming on the corner blitz, that time pulled off, sat there over the middle, and made a nice play.
Packers in no big hurry. We're inside 45 seconds, but they still have 2 timeouts. It's 2nd and goal from the 11. Rodgers looking right, completing this one to Jennings. Touchdown, Packers.
That time, Nate Jones came on the blitz, and a great job of reading it by Aaron Rodgers that time. He said, okay, you're going to come off the blitz on this left side. I'm just going to throw it right where you were for a touchdown. Now, I'll tell you what, that's pretty sophisticated little drive that time by Aaron Rodgers. Congratulations.
Mason Crosby is on to do the honors. And just like that, the Packers have pulled to within 10 in a ball game that they are seemingly incapable of stopping the Dallas Cowboys, one in which they have lost their mainstay, Brett Favre, one in which they haven't had a lot of things going their way, and yet they're within 10 points.
Nate Jones is going to come off the right side here, and all the Packers are going to do is turn around right where he would have dropped in that zone coverage, and Greg Jennings, as he's done all season, found a way to get it in the end zone. Boy, he's become a really exciting player, even a little face mask.
Patrick Watkins.
On the tail end of that play. But this is, I've got to go back to it, Brian, and I don't want to beat a dead horse that I've already beaten to death.
This is the Packers you expected.
This is the Packers offense, and it's working, and it worked early, and then for whatever reason, they got totally away from it for about a quarter of this game. They've come back to it, take it right down the field, and now it looks like the Green Bay Packers again.
Okay, that's the good part of the story. The bad part is they haven't been able to stop this Dallas offense.
Well, they did the last time.
It's true.
And so they have at least a little momentum going in here at the half. I mean, this looked like game over for a little while. 27-10. Brett Favre sitting on the sideline. Here comes Aaron Rodgers. You know, we're all thinking, okay, we're going to do a little vamping here in the second half. And then Aaron Rodgers takes him right down the field. Tony Romo misses a few passes. You wonder if maybe the Dallas Cowboys relaxed when they saw Brett Favre sitting on the sideline.
Rodgers 4 for 4 on the drive with his first career touchdown pass. This is Miles Austin running it back to the 26. Remember, NFL Network has all the highlights each and every week. NFL Game Day. It's Sunday nights at 11:30 Eastern. NFL Network, where you get your football 24/7. We've just got 25 seconds to play in this first half. If you're Dallas, you just get to the locker room content at 27-17?
Well, you have to be content at this point because it is what it is, but they're not going to take a chance and don't want to continue the momentum going the other way, because if Terrence Newman has issues, and believe me, you go in at halftime and you're able to play through it for a little while, you sit there for the 12 minutes of halftime, things start to lock up sometimes. It's going to be interesting to see who they come out of the locker room with.
Big half for Terrell Owens, a record half for him. Tough half for Brett Favre. He'll get tended to in the locker room.
Time in Dallas. Tony Romo and Brett Favre slinging it in Big D against one another. Charles Woodson not playing in this game due to a toe injury suffered last Thanksgiving. Last week, first quarter, Romo to Terrell Owens on the sidelines. Looks like Al Harris rips the ball away, but it was called. Owens had his forward progress stopped, even though refs came by and pointed in Green Bay's direction.
Yeah, one ref said Tio caught it. The other guy right here, number 125, says Green Bay has the interception.
So it's 3-all when Ryan Grant is leveled in the hole by Roy Williams. A big hit right there.
Good hit by Roy right there. Shows you why he's one of the hardest hitting safeties in the game.
Brett Favre was slinging it vertically throughout much of the first quarter of this game. Then Ken Hamlin takes that easy gimme pick, led to the next play. Romo to Terrell Owens for 34 yards right there.
See some confusion in the secondary as to who has T.O. on the crossing route.
Down to the Green Bay 7, and then Patrick Creighton with the first touchdown of the game makes it a 10-point game. Ryan Grant breaks loose 62 yards in a third and short.
A lot of confusion in the secondary and the defense of the Dallas Cowboys. They got a timeout before that, but they weren't able to put it together.
Made it 13-10, first play of the second quarter. Romo pump fakes and throws all the way down the field to wide open Terrell Owens, who had a huge first half. Play fake, Romo 2 plays later to Anthony Fasano. His first career touchdown. It's a 10-point game. Brett Favre gets leveled on this particular play. Nathan Jones hits Favre, who leaves the game clutching his right elbow. That led to an interception by Terrence Newman. As for the rest of the game at this point, Romo to a wide open Terrell Owens, who enjoys his popcorn getting ready right there. And Brett Favre was on the sidelines for the rest of the half. Aaron Rodgers came in, did throw his first career touchdown to make it a 10-point game again, but really the score is secondary right now to how Brett Favre is feeling. And Steve, as Brett Favre came off the field, you and he had a conversation. What did he tell you as he came off the field?
Well, he came over to me, actually, and he had his arm wrapped up now. He said, I got hit in the nerve, and my fingers are numb. He can't feel the ball like he needs to throw it. So I don't think anything's broken. I think he's got a numb hand right now, and I don't know. He didn't say anything about returning or not.
But I know we're not doctors. We don't play a doctor on TV. Do you think a quarterback can handle that sort? I mean, he's numb in his hand. It sounds like Favre's out for the night.
I would expect him to be out of the game. First of all, the sync. They had no cohesiveness on the offensive unit. It seemed like they abandoned their game plan. And Brett Favre was up under severe pressure all game long. And it seemed as though when Aaron Rodgers got into the game, he was able to orchestrate that offense much better than Brett Favre.
You know, while watching the first half, the thing that concerned me the most was why did they get away from what was successful in the first drive? Dinkin and Duncan, they took their shots, but then second and third drives, they were throwing the ball down the field. The pressure from the Dallas Cowboys was just too much for that offensive line.
The last time Brett Favre was knocked from a game due to injury was last November 19th when he suffered a right elbow injury. He did return to action the next week, but he did not return in that 35-0 loss to the New England Patriots. Adam Schefter is standing by the Packers locker room, and we will get an update from him when we return on the Wendy's halftime show from an enthusiastic Texas Packers locker room. Adam take it away.
Thanks, Rich. Brett Favre had no feeling in his hand when he came to the locker room. Basically, he had an arm wrapped in a big sleeve. We are awaiting an update on his condition and whether or not he can resume playing in the second half.
And as you can see, the Packers right behind you are coming out for the second half of this game. It is really loud out here in Texas Stadium because they're honoring the 1977 and 92 championship teams. Tony Casillas and Moose Johnston were just announced to this highly enthusiastic crowd as they're up 10 points. What can the Packers do? Certainly if Brett Favre doesn't return to this game, Steve.
First of all, they need to get some things straightened out on defense. They start pressuring Tony Romo because T.O. is having a huge night. 6 catches and 147 yards. They've got to slow that down and keep them out of the end zone. And if it's Aaron Rodgers, he's got to be methodical. They got to control the ball and get some more points, obviously.
It seems as though Dallas defense got away from their game plan once Aaron Rodgers came in. I look for them to go back to their original game plan, put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and like Coach alluded to, you got to find some way to stop T.O. No one else is hurting you. No one else is even involved, but T.O. is your Achilles heel right now.
First of all, kudos to Jason Garrett for all the different ways he's used T.O. tonight. We felt like it was going to be a matchup between Ian and Al Harris, but the one thing that's apparent, they're moving T.O. around, create mismatches. You see him on linebackers and safeties when they try to switch coverage. That was a great scheme. The other thing is Aaron Rodgers getting him in the game, using his mobility is going to be key for the Packers in the second half.
Well, as you can see, the Packers spilling out of the locker room door, a very familiar face, not one of them. Brett Favre is yet to come out of the locker room. The Cowboys are up 10, and the crowd is going nuts here in Dallas. Second half coming up on the Wendy's.
It's a drive, no question about it.
And so Crosby will get our second half underway. This is Miles Austin, and Crosby makes a tackle on this side at the 42-yard line.
They are going to wear out Miles Austin for that. Tony
Romo's already laughing about it. Let's take a look at our first half statistics. Kind of surprising the total yards are only separated there by 13 because it seemed like a lot more.
Well, there was just a gap in there for Green Bay because they moved the ball well at the beginning when they were spreading it out and doing their thing, and then all of a sudden they had a couple of turnovers and Dallas got 14 points off of that, and then late they got back to what they do and they moved the ball again.
And Brett Favre is still in the locker room. He did not come back out with his teammates for the second half. He is being evaluated, we are told. We'll keep our eye on that. Romo will throw on first down, and he was going for Jason Witten, who was tripped up by Brady Papinga, and the flag follows. This one's pretty easy.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 51 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
It's like Flozell Adams came out of there limping just a little bit. I'd say that's a foul. That has a pretty good chance of being a foul.
I like how extended his arms afterwards.
I don't know if fans realize, but there is an official on the field that watches every single wide receiver eligible guy individually. So when they miss something like that, they should be fired. If he didn't see that, they need to get rid of him.
Just short of midfield, first down for the Cowboys. The give is to Julius Jones, and he'll get another first as he crosses the 40 before Nick Collins upends him. We're going to be keeping an eye out for Brett Favre, but we've just gotten word that he is going to get x-rayed in the locker room where he is being evaluated. Should he make an appearance, we'll of course let you know. Or any other word we get, Adam Schefter is on the case.
Of course, x-rays don't tell you anything about ligaments, tendons. There's Brett coming back out, and I think that's Steve Mariucci got hold of him.
Romo lofting this one, and it drops in between Witten and Fasano, who are in the same vicinity. Not really sure who that one was intended for.
Well, let's call it a good sign that we're seeing Brett coming back down regardless of whether he plays or not. He has the sleeve on that elbow now. Boy, he's been so remarkable for so long. I mean, you just don't play this position as long as he has and just play time after time after time. It's really a remarkable story. I don't think we'll ever see it again.
He makes his appearance in the lower right corner from where we're sitting, and he's getting a hand there as he comes back onto the field. And Julius Jones is brought down by Colin Jenkins. And you see Brett there with the sleeve on his throwing arm, making his way back to the sideline. Here's the play on which he was injured once again. You're going to see Nathan Jones coming from Brett's front side. And it would appear that Favre hit his elbow on Jones' helmet.
Yeah, and that would be the good news if it's more bone related. When you get that arm in a vulnerable position and you're throwing and snapping that arm forward, and all of a sudden somebody hits the top half of your arm, what you worry about then is the ligament damage or the possibility of it.
Meanwhile, Cowboys facing 3rd and 12 here on their opening drive. And I think on the far side, Colombo jumped early.
Ball start, number 75 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, Mark Colombo has reason to jump early. He's been playing against Aaron Campman, who's #1 in the NFL in sacks, and he knows that he has to get off the ball, but at least so far he's been doing a nice job against Aaron Campman. Campman's a guy that's completely transformed himself. He came in the league as a 290-pound run-stuffing end. He started doing all these different kind of training techniques, worked his way down to 260 pounds, and now leads the NFL with sacks.
Well, part of our story tonight is they have not been able to get pressure on Romo, who, as you noted, looked like he'd hardly broken a sweat. Steps up this time and completes it to Witten, but he would appear to be short of the first before A.J. Hawk drags him down. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Cowboys go for it here. Let's go down to Adam Schefter real quick for a quick report about Brett Favre. Adam?
Thanks very much, Brian. Basically, Brett Favre's fingers are numb and sore. His elbow is swollen. Right now, it does not look like Brett Favre will be back this evening.
All right, thank you, Adam. Just on the sidelines to lend support, and indeed the Cowboys in 4th and short are going to go for it. They're calling it 4th and 2. It would appear to be considerably less than that. Jones is stacked behind Hoyt. He's the up back. This is Jones. Stuffed in the hole. It would appear he did not make it. Ryan Pickett getting stout in the inside. So the Cowboys will turn it over on downs. Good stop by the Packer defense.
Looked like Ryan Pickett was the guy that came through there, and they have made it official now that it is Green Bay ball.
They waited their good time, didn't they? We thought we were going to get our first measurement tonight, but indeed they came up short, and so the Packers will get the ball trailing by 10. 4th and a short 2.
What a play by Ryan Pickett, too.
And so Rodgers starts the second half for the Packers and goes down in a heap. Brady James and Greg Ellis arriving there at the same time.
One of the problems you have as the backup quarterback, when you start to see some exotic looks, you're just not used to it. I mean, this is something that Aaron Rodgers, who was playing Tony Romo all week, running the Dallas offense, probably didn't see that blitz in practice, doesn't know where to go. The hot reads aren't immediate for him, and that time he had to eat it.
Starts the week playing Tony Romo, finishes the week playing Brett Favre.
Yeah.
He'll complete this one to James Jones, but that's not going very far. Anthony Henry grabbing him as soon as he lays hands on it.
Well, one of the things they wanted to do tonight is Anthony Henry's been playing on a bad ankle, and they were really determined to throw some short stuff underneath him, or at least Brett was, and try and let their wide receivers get some yards after the catch. They're #1 in the league with that, but Henry's been true to the test so far.
3rd and long for Aaron Rodgers.
Pressure will be coming here without question.
He gets good protection and completes this one to Donald Driver. Close to midfield, call it the 47-yard line. Another good throw by Rodgers.
No question about it. Nate Jones did come on the blitz one more time. I'm really surprised that Wade Phillips didn't try and bring a little bit more pressure after getting the sack early. But we're seeing the Packers offensive line do the best job that they can. Some of those changes they made up front may be paying off at this point.
Rodgers picking up 17 yards on the 3rd and 11. This is Ryan Grant getting 3 on the right side. Roy Williams coming up and being credited with the stop.
Aaron Rodgers and Greg Jennings right at the end of the first half made some big plays to get the Packers right back in this game. And again, he converted on 3rd down there. But this was the one that really started the momentum going back Green Bay's way. And when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys in these clutch situations now, I'm surprised they're not coming after Rodgers. Let's see if they do here as they go spread.
Rodgers will run for it. And this time he does go feet first as he moves into Cowboy territory to the 41-yard line.
Well, if you practice like you're Tony Romo, you play like you're Tony Romo. One of the dangers that you get into when you try and run those man underneath coverages on the outside, all your cornerbacks are staring at the receiver as they broke to the out. There's literally nobody standing in the middle of the field. Rodgers looked out, not there, pulled it down, and has another big run for a first down. That's his second one in this game.
Aaron Rodgers completed his last 6 throws now, has the Packers on the move. Rodgers with tons of time. Completes it to Donald Lee, and Donald Lee still on his feet to the 25, dragging Roy Williams. Make that 7 in a row for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, the Packers right now are making adjustments. They're trying to help in protection. That time they had a tight end, 2 backs in. And Corey Hall and Ryan Grant did a tremendous job shoring up the protection inside. It was Mark Tauscher on the outside on that bad ankle, and Aaron Rodgers just bought enough time to find Donald Lee.
13 more, and he will be Brett Favre.
Wow.
Brett had 20 in a row last week against Detroit. Rodgers has 7 in a row tonight. This time he'll give it to Grant, and Grant will get nothing. Stopped inside, Jason Hatcher.
Jason Hatcher's had a nice game tonight. Marcus Spears is the guy that starts for them, but when I was watching the tape of the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't see a lot of difference between Marcus Spears and Jason Hatcher. Spears maybe a little stouter, a little bigger against the run. Hatcher maybe a little better pass rusher, but Hatcher's come up big so far in this one.
Rodgers looking and finding Donald Lee once again. Kevin Burnett drags him down. He's going to leave the Packers with 3rd and about 4.
Well, again, we're getting back to Green Bay's offense, which is a series of short throws. The Cowboys choosing not to blitz on Aaron Rodgers, despite the fact they've had some success. They work inside against Kevin Burnett in a one-on-one kind of situation. But that's a little 7-8-yard throw. Those are easy, and unless the pressure gets there, Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to make those throws, especially down to the goal line. More often than not, you're going to get pressure against the young quarterback. Roy Williams in the game now. Let's see if he comes.
Packers go 5 wide again. Rodgers flushed. Looked like someone had a hand on the face mask, and indeed, there goes the flag. That would be Greg Ellis. And it would seem inadvertently he got the hand up high and got a piece of the face mask. This will be first down Green Bay.
They're not saying inadvertent anything. They called it a personal foul, I think. And Greg Ellis working against Mark Tauscher again, who's doing all that he can. But it was clearly the face mask that time by Greg Ellis. And when you get that turn of the helmet, that's what determines. If you grab it, that's a 5-yarder. If you turn it, it's a 15. Another big break for Green Bay.
And they'll step it off, and it'll be short of the 10-yard line, so the Packers will be in a position to get a first without scoring. First down Green Bay.
But again, it was just 4-man pressure. Maybe they feel like because of the injury to Mark Tauscher, they don't have to blitz, with Greg Ellis bringing it from off that corner. Now they bring a tight end, Donald Lee, to that side to give him a little help.
Empty backfield for Rodgers. Throwing over the middle and completing the driver. Fighting for yardage to the 2-yard line. He'll be short of the first down. It'll be 2nd and 1 or 2 yards.
And let's give some credit to Junius Costin inside. He came in at right tackle. I think they moved Jason Spitz over to left tackle. Darren College came out, and at least the interior protection has been better.
He'll throw on 2nd down. Caught short of the goal line. This is John Kuhn. Kevin Burnett stopped him at the goal line, but it would appear that he has enough for a first down.
Pretty incredible tackle by Burnett. Kuhn had it, and it looked like he was just going to walk in the end zone. He just ran over his defender on the play, Keith Davis. And it looked routine that he was going to walk into the end zone. And Burnett just stuck him and drove him right out of there. A heck of a tackle.
Not yet, Brett. Not yet. You could read his lips. He says, oh, first down. Not quite. Nope. John Perry says that's close enough for government work. First down, Packers. Not sure how he interpreted that late.
Well, partner, you called it on the button. You said they could get a first down. I didn't know they would that close to the goal line, but it ends up being a big play.
Neither did John Kuhn, evidently. Full house backfield. The give is to Grant. Touchdown Packers. My goodness.
And John Kuhn got a little revenge on that when he said, well, I didn't get it in, but my block's going to get it in. That time he threw a big block, leading Ryan Grant into the end zone.
My goodness, young Aaron Rodgers.
We got a story going on right here.
In any other community, they'd say this is the start of a quarterback controversy, but that won't happen in Green Bay. And with the extra point, the Packers have moved to within 3 with just a little over 5 minutes to play in the third period. We've got a ball game. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have pulled it to 11 of 14, 130 yards, plus he's got 17 yards on the ground. We have a 27-24 ball game. And suddenly the onus is on the Dallas offense. This is Miles Austin. And he gets it back to the 20-yard line. Tony Romo will be taking the field shortly. We'll come back in a moment, but a big first half, 6 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Romo trapped on that side with Aaron Campman, and A.J. Hawk comes up to put a stop to Jason Witten. It's going to be a loss of about a yard.
One of the things the Packers felt like that they could do to stop Tony Romo was to take away his first look. Their goal tonight was to make him pull the ball down and get away from his first receiver and go to his second receiver. Unfortunately for them, the Cowboys have had the kind of protection tonight. They can go to the first receiver, the second receiver, and the third receiver. That time they finally did get a little pressure on the outside on the bootleg.
Meanwhile, the Packers have gone to Tramon Williams in place of Jarrett Bush at the corner opposite Al Harris. Harris is matched up with Owens on the far side, and once again, A.J. Hawk. This time putting the lick on Marion Barber.
There you see the strategy one more time. They were going to try and take away the first looks of the running backs and the tight end. They've done a pretty good job on Jason Witten as well tonight. They just don't want to give him the easy throws. They want to see him hold the ball, pull it down a second time. That time it was a screen pass, but Hawk was able to split the defenders or split the offensive lineman, get in the backfield and make the play.
And good pressure again for Catman.
We've got one of those uh-oh kind of moments here for the Dallas Cowboys. They have to punt this football back to that young Aaron. Who knows?
3rd and 14, and as you can see, they are 0 for 4 on third down conversions this evening. Did he get it off? No, he did not.
Ball start, number 70 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That was Leonard Davis inside being flagged, and we're pushing back a little bit more, make it 3rd and 19.
Creates a lot of options right here for the Green Bay Packers defensively. You can try and make them throw hot, just tackle them for a 7, 8, 9-yard gain and let them send their punt team out.
Harris will be matched up with Owens at the bottom of your screen. At the top, it's young Tramon Williams, who we said has replaced Jared Bush. He's got Sam Hurd up there. Romo flushed, finding Creighton. 1st down, Cowboys. Atari Bigby was the closest defender.
The problem is you got the T.O. factor working again. T.O. came down in short motion. Frank Walker picked him up in the slot. And Al Harris, for whatever reason, stayed there at the line of scrimmage. Really didn't try and drop back underneath it. You're looking at a 3rd and 19 kind of a situation. There's no reason to stay there at the line of scrimmage. You've got to drop back and try and get underneath that corner. They paid so much attention to T.O. They just let Creighton free.
3rd and 19, and they pick up 35. Gets them close to midfield. Romo with time. Throws this one out of bounds. He was going for Creighton, but pretty good coverage on that side by young Williams, the first-year player out of Louisiana Tech.
And Tramon Williams has been limping a little bit as he finished off that play. They tried to get him with an out-and-up look that time. They came with the short motion again with T.O. Cleared the zone, thinking that they would draw the safety with him, go to out-and-up, but Tramon Williams stayed right with him.
Williams is a youngster who got a chance to play last week in a victory over Detroit and played very, very well. He impressed a lot of people. Fasano, the up-back, trying to lead Barber. Fasano with a good block on the outside and maybe a face mask on that side. That was Bigby with the hand up high, and I think he might have gotten a piece of the face mask.
Dallas Cowboys have 3 of the best blocking tight ends in the game, maybe the best together.
Indeed, it was Bigby, so they'll step this one off.
Anthony Fasano, who stopped in the backfield, watch him cut the outside guy, and when you can get him on the ground, that's it. Tramon Williams taken out, and the corner was there for Marion Barber. This is some drive. That 3rd and 19 play is devastating right now for the Green Bay Packers.
Just when it appeared the Packers were going to get the ball back, Romo completes a 35-yarder to Creighton on this side, and suddenly it's the Cowboys who have a scoring threat just outside the 30-yard line. Romo lofting this one for Owens. Did he get him down? Did he have possession? Looked like he juggled it as he went out of bounds.
Tell you, this was some throw and catch right here. Tony Romo under pressure. They came with the blitz with the inside linebackers.
Oh!
Pretty close.
Whoa.
That is an interesting one right there. He is bobbling, and did that last foot get down? First of all, when did he have control? Let's do that first
McCarthy
of all.
just threw the flag. He just threw the challenge flag.
Oh boy,
that's not a catch.
I'm thinking that's going to be ruled incomplete there. It was.
Cowboys will have 2nd and 10 at the Packers 31.
Yeah, there was one additional bobble all the way out of bounds, wasn't there?
Yeah, this one's coming back.
After reviewing the play, it is an incomplete pass. The ball was being covered as it was going out of bounds, therefore incomplete. 2nd and 10, the 32.5-yard line. Green Bay is not charged with the timeout.
Even 3 yards out of bounds, he didn't have possession.
It was clearly that last bobble just ended any discussion whatsoever. So the Packers catch a break, and Wade Phillips has to dial up another one. But
where are they taking them back to? Hey, guys, you've gone too far. They've gone way too far. They've got him standing now at what would be the 43-yard line.
I think you can hear him say what I thought was 30 and a half or something and a half.
I thought it was the 31. It's certainly not at the 43.
Yeah, he's going to take another peek. One more time.
That'd be really bonus.
Yeah.
Challenge it and get 12 extra yards.
Everybody in Green Bay was complaining, but boy, T.O. is such a force.
Visual evidence of where they started the last play.
Right there on the 31-yard line.
Yard line, 30 and a half, 2nd and 10.
We're splitting hairs now. In any event, it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Cowboys.
Big sequence here for the Green Bay defense with the way they're playing offensively right now. If they could limit the Cowboys to a field goal here, it would give them a great opportunity to take the lead on the next possession. In the slot with Al Harris on him.
Romo underneath to Owens. Al Harris comes up and stops him short of the first down. Don't forget, NFL Network has the 5 best NFL games each week re-aired in an enhanced 90-minute program. Chris Collinsworth watches every single minute.
I do indeed.
NFL Replay, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. That's only on NFL Network.
I'm sure this game's going to be an NFL replay, and I don't know if Al Harris is going to want to see this replay. T.O., well, I tell you, he's such a physical presence. Al Harris had pretty good coverage. He's banging around on him, and T.O. just slung him off of it.
Let's see what Jason Garrett dials up, 3rd and short. This is Barber. He'll get the first down easily. Just tripped up inside the 10. They'll mark it at the 3-yard line.
That is classic Marion Barber right there. The play was designed to go off to his right, literally without breaking stride. He's going to cut this all the way back to the left, and he loses no speed. That's what coaches marvel at around the league, his ability to see it, cut it back against the grain. It wasn't there. They were trying to go off to the right side. The cutback was there for him.
They've spotted it at the 5. It'll be 1st and goal. We've moved inside 30 seconds to go in the 3rd period. Cowboys leading 27-24. Looks like he did not play beat the clock effectively.
Delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
This was during Marion Barber's run.
Whoop.
Al Harris been physical with Terrell Owens all night.
That's the only time he stopped him all night when T.O. was a spectator. He was catching his breath on that one, and Harris gave him a shot.
And we've reached the end of the 3rd period. 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. You get a look. It was all Cowboys in the first half, but Aaron Rodgers put together a nice drive to bring the Packers to within 3. Packers had the Cowboys backed up on a 3rd and 19, but Romo completed a 34-yard strike to Patrick Creighton, get him out of the hole, and now they are looking for more. The give is to Barber. Barber looking for the corner, but he got turned back by Ryan Pickett. Good play by Pickett from inside.
Marion Barber, no question about it, has been a force in the 4th quarter, and I think not only has he been given that opportunity, but this big offensive line just wears people out in the 4th quarter. You look at them across the board, they're almost frightening how big they are. And I think they get back to a more simple approach when they're in the 4th quarter. You don't see all the pulling and the sort of trickery in the offensive line. They just come off and maul people, and I still feel like that's when they're at their best.
2nd and goal from the 6. Romo with time. Owens in and out of his hands into the arms of Al Harris. Well, look what I found. Harris has got to be thinking he's got that one coming after what happened in the first quarter.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Hits T.O. right in the numbers. It couldn't be an easier catch, and he laterals it to Al Harris.
What a turnover. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense will get the ball trailing by 3. Terrell Owens had one right in his jersey. If he catches it, we got close to game over. Instead, he delivers the ball to Al Harris. And just like that, the Packers have the ball at the 20, trailing by 3, and Aaron Rodgers has completed 10 in a row and led Green Bay to 2 scores in 3 drives. He completes this one to Greg Jennings. You explain this interception, if you will.
Well, I don't know that I can. Al Harris is not covering Terrell Owens this time. It was Nick Barnett inside. T.O. gave him a little push, angled back out, kind of got his feet tangled, tossed it over to Al Harris, who's had a pretty tough night tonight. But you take what you can get in the holiday season.
I got to give some credit to our spotter up here, Malibu Cal. In the commercial, he said maybe it was all that butter from the popcorn that T.O. threw on his jersey over there, made it a little bit slippery. Rodgers tries to throw a strike, fastball inside, but Kevin Burnett got his hand up and deflected that one. He was going for James Jones.
Kevin Burnett with a really heads-up play on that one. As Rodgers now starting to work the middle of the field more and more. Burnett right at the last second is going to get that one in there. But Jock Reeves has been doing a little better job lately than what we saw early on.
That one snapped Rodgers' string of 11 straight. Pretty impressive. Completes outside to Donald Driver, and he's muscled out of bounds. That's Jock Reeves. T.O. left to wonder exactly what happened there.
Boy, and it's such a big game. I think we have to reestablish what's on the line here. Dallas and Green Bay playing for the #1 seed in the playoffs. Not a lock, but probably so whoever ends up winning this game, meaning that if they met again in the championship game, the winner of this one gets the home field advantage. Huge game, and it looks like it's going to come right down to the wire.
And just as Brett Favre has had no success here, the Cowboys are 0-5 at Lambeau. This time, Rodgers is going to be wrapped up by DeMarcus Ware and thrown for a loss. And the Packers will have to give up the football.
Well, Chad Clifton that time just got beat by one of the best pass rushing outside linebackers in football. They get in the nickel, they get into the dime, he gets to put his hand on the ground, and that's not even close. You have to give your quarterback a chance. He tried to step up, and Clifton didn't even, barely got a hand on him. It's pretty bad.
John Ryan booms this one away. Patrick Creighton calls for a fair catch. Highlights and analysis and some post-game interviews as well. Romo and the Cowboys trying to get something started here. This is Jason Witten. Escapes the attempted tackle of Atari Bigby and gets the first down. Cowboys offense been a bit stagnant since they scored their last touchdown. They made it 27-10 with 9:53 remaining in the second period. They're still hung up on 27.
Yeah, and the Packers have done a pretty good job on Jason Witten tonight. They've been burned by some top-end tight ends around the league this season, but Jason Witten really hasn't hurt them that. But what you saw there is when they try to get into a man coverage with him with a safety, that's a real mismatch.
So first down Cowboys at the 37. Romo will throw. He's got Witten again. It's Hawk that chases him out of bounds, but we have a flag down. And this one would appear to be coming back.
Looks like
holding.
Looks like his mic gave way, but we're thinking it's Flozell Adams, number 76. They've got a grip. Let's take a look.
Working on the outside against Cullen Jenkins, and I'd say that's a hold. Get him around the neck right there. But one of the, remember, Kabir Baja-Biamila not in this game, and in this situation, Flozell Adams, if he has an issue, it's with speed rushers. He's okay generally if he can get himself out of the stance, but especially on the road, you'll see him struggle at times because that first move isn't good. But if he gets his hands on somebody, generally it's over.
Join the NFL's national gameplay calling competition. You can go to NFL.com live right now and call the play. If you called Marion Julius Jones off the right side, you got it right. You can compete in this real-time competition online or on your mobile phone while watching tonight's network's game. Call the play exclusively at NFL.com.
Well, we're getting right down to it here, aren't we? We've got Tony Romo, this kid who grew up in Wisconsin and was telling me earlier this week that he can't get one single of his old buddies to convert to being a Cowboys fan. Now trying to put a dagger in the Green Bay Packers, who have shown great heart here tonight. They really have. Despite all the injuries, they've stayed right with the Dallas Cowboys and coming up with a big couple of downs right here.
This time Romo with max protect has Owens in motion. Witten curling inside. It's for Witten, caught in the arms of Nick Barnett. But he's still going to be well short of the first down marker. It's going to leave the Cowboys with a 3rd and a 7 or 8.
Aaron Campman keeps getting closer and closer and closer. That time able to dip down inside against Colombo and get some pressure. You know, offensive linemen are like anybody else. They start getting a little tired in the fourth quarter, and Campman's a guy with a non-stop motor. Let's see if he can start being a factor now down the stretch. Big 3rd down here.
Huge 3rd down play. Romo over the middle. Witten. First down, Cowboys. You see A.J. Hawk there saying he pushed off, but he's not going to find a receptive ear.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a push off. Let's take one look. Usually
he extended the right arm just a bit.
That's the question. Usually they're going to let you have the elbow up and make a play. If you extend the arm in their estimation, then that typically is a foul. But as we've seen with Tony Romo throughout the course of the year, when times start getting a little bit tough, Jason Witten's his guy, and as long as they're going to play man coverage on him, they're going to go after him.
That one good for 13 yards, and it was a 3rd and 8. Second big down throw of the night for Romo. He wants it all this time. He's got Creighton out front. Miles Austin comes up looking for a flag. Their feet got tangled. He and Tramon Williams, and Austin can't believe. Well, now the flag does come. But this one may not be for interference. This one may be.
It's definitely going to be interference. They had a discussion. One official thought the legs got tangled. They came over, met with the other official. He said, nah, he grabbed him, he hooked him, he did something else.
Well, then why not the flag early?
I think they had a dispute. I think one thought it was legs tangled, which is not.
Pass interference, defense, number 38.
I thought Austin had said the magic word, and that's why we got the late flag.
Well, do the legs get tangled, or is there more to it than that? The little hook, although it's hard to tell whether that really had anything to do with the interference. You get the push in the back. Really, the interference of it came when the legs tangled and not so much the contact. Then you have the question, was it a catchable ball or not? All those things go in the Cowboys' favor, and a huge play and a tough call.
Gets them 42 yards and earns them a 1st and goal from 5. Romo throws this one low.
Romo completely lost that football.
It was intended for Patrick Creighton.
He
quotation mark.
I mean, he took the thing and then he did a little juggling act and then tried to get it out of there.
Let's go back to the call. Legit?
I didn't like it, to be perfectly honest with you. There's the bobble and throw it out of there. I thought the leg tangle was really what they called on the interference. There was some other stuff, but I didn't see that dramatic jerk that would have led to a pass interference.
This is where Marion Barber is quite good, and he gets it. Sidesteps one tackler and looks for something on the left side, but doesn't find it. Ryan Pickett, who's played a whale of a ball game tonight, stops him after about a pickup of a yard.
Ryan Pickett, the former #1 pick of the Rams, came up with that big 4th down stop earlier, which was absolutely incredible, working against Leonard Davis. Brett Favre saying, don't worry about it, we got it here.
Well, this is a big down for the Packers. If they can limit the Cowboys to a field goal here, they are within a touchdown of taking the lead in this ball game.
Our cameras have found the right guy. I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to that same play they missed before. Not man coverage here. Looks like some kind of a combination in and out look.
Harris's head up on Owens. Touchdown, Cowboys. Patrick Creighton. Well, he had Owens in the back of the end zone. He had Creighton in the front of the end zone.
Well, they release Owens, but then they're going to go out and then back in. But essentially what you get there is rebound position. You know, in basketball where you're going to try and get your body in front of the guy, because they went in and out on Owens there, then Harris was left to chase him back on that redirect. And it was just a matter of body position. It's not somebody beating somebody else there. Just his body was in front of his other. Nice play design that time by Jason Garrett.
And just like that, the Cowboys have put the touchdown drive that ended with a 4-yard touchdown catch. Patrick Creighton has put the Packers in a considerable hole. They now need 2 scores with just 7:51 to play here in Dallas. This will be Corin Robinson. Robinson trips just past the 25-yard line. We'll take a break and then come down to this kind of a call.
Well, and he got both hands on him, but did he ever break stride because of his hands? I say no. The trip happened with inadvertent feet tangling together, and that's not supposed to be pass interference.
And so Aaron Rodgers really has his work cut out for him. He starts it with a completion of Donald Driver. You think that ought to be a reviewable call, don't you?
Yeah, I don't like the fact, it's probably my biggest beef with the league, is that those 50-yard game-changing penalties can't be reviewed. I mean, clearly there was a disagreement between the 2 officials there. Why not give them one more opportunity to take a look? This game has been too good. It's too important to not go underneath, let those 2 guys, if you want to, take a look at it and decide, was it really pass interference or not?
Aaron Rodgers seems to have found his groove. Completed 13 of his last 14. He's got running room on the right side, and he'll get it close to midfield. First down, Packers.
Well, once again, we see that man underneath coverage, and the right side of the offensive line, I don't know exactly what happened, but Mark Tauscher was able to, and Junius Costin was able to trip up the defensive left side of the Cowboys, and there was just nobody left over there. Then they had the man coverage in the backfield. Everybody's chasing somebody, and Aaron Rodgers took off.
Aaron Rodgers, who's thrown for 150, has now picked up 30 on the ground, given 13 on that carry. He's got Grant in the backfield. Completes this one to Driver on a crossing route, and Driver gets it into Cowboy territory to the 43-yard line.
Donald Driver, the workhorse for the Green Bay Packers offense. 75% of the balls that he catches are between the numbers. He's willing to go inside. He makes great yardage after the catch. Just one of the real tough guys in the game of football. Just vice grips for hands. A tremendous talent.
Well, all of these Packers after the catch are ridiculous. They're like 600 yards more as a team than the NFL average. Lofting this one down the left sideline for Jennings. Slightly overthrown. Anthony Henry was in pretty good position.
Boy, Anthony Henry's played a nice game here tonight. Greg Jennings gave him a double move on a slant and go. And Henry was not fooled. Really easy to get tricked on a play like that. And sometimes you question the speed of Henry because of the ankle injury, but boy, he was stride for stride with probably the fastest of the receivers, Greg Jennings.
Rodgers completes this side. Corin Robinson, his first catch of the night. Gets enough of a stiff arm on Henry to work his way close to the first down marker. Well, we've asked it already about kicking to Devin Hester, but we'll find out next Thursday. NFL Network brings you the Bears and the Redskins in an NFC showdown. That's next Thursday at 8 Eastern on NFL Network.
Sean Taylor. I think the funeral is on Tuesday. They have to come back and play on Thursday, the Washington Redskins.
I think the service is Monday.
Okay.
The Redskins will fly down as a team and lay their teammate to rest. And there you see Sean Taylor's number 21, a sticker on the back of several helmets tonight. This is Ryan Grant. It's been a long while since we've called his number. But he may have the Packers' first down. Grant getting close to 100 yards in the night. He's just 5 short.
I don't believe the Cowboys have given up a 100-yard rusher so far this season. So Ryan Grant not only had a great day against the Minnesota Vikings and their stout run defense, turning around against a very good Dallas Cowboys defense and doing the same.
Well, when you get 62 in one chunk, it helps.
That helps. What do you do here if this one is not a first down?
Oh, I think they've got it. Well, you got to get a field goal and a touchdown either way.
2 scores, but I think you've got to go for this one here, don't you?
Right. Even if they were to try a field goal at this point, he's looking at a 51-yard attempt.
Yeah. Have to take your shot. It's one of the issues, though, for the Green Bay Packers. They're not the classic running team, and maybe that factors into this decision because Mike McCarthy is going to kick this one. You do have to score twice. So he's going to try and get his field goal here. It won't be easy, though.
As we've noted, Crosby's long of the year is 53. So he's got enough leg for this.
I have to say I would probably go for it here. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I think you have to take your shot to try and go down and score this one. And this one is by no means a gimme from 52 yards.
I confess we were a little bit surprised at the spot. It appeared that he had enough for the first down, but they came up short. Crosby pulls the Packers to within 1 score with just 5:03 to play in the ball game. So now it's on the Packers defense. We'll find out what they can do when we come back. The onus is on that man, Tony Romo, to see how much of that clock he can eat up and not give the Packers an opportunity to tie this ball game up. This is Miles Austin. And Miles Austin is tripped up as he crosses the 35-yard line. Let's go back to that third down play when it appeared to us as if Ryan Grant had enough for the first, and maybe if Mike McCarthy had a challenge left, he would have challenged the spot.
They have taken a shot, but you burn your 2 challenges, and you don't have that option at that point. And one of the reasons I disagreed with the call to take the field goal, a lot of people would have agreed with it. I think it's sort of a 50-50 call. You're looking at a team in the Dallas Cowboys that you really haven't stopped all day, and this is their absolute strength. This is where they've won game after game this year, this sort of 4-minute offense at the end of the game with their power running football style.
We're going to get a heavy dose of this man, Marion Barber. He starts off with a 3.5-yard gain. A.J. Hawk stops him. Romo has come up with big plays on third down tonight when they needed them, none bigger than when they were backed up deep in their own end. At 3rd and 19, and he threw a 34-yard strike to Patrick Creighton. Later on in the ball game, he had a 3rd and 8 and completed a 13-yarder to Jason Witten, in both instances keeping a scoring drive alive.
Here's where all that money you paid this offensive line is supposed to pay off. You get in behind the big guys, you just drive them out, run out this clock, and win the game.
Romo milking the clock. He's going to throw it. Completes this one to Jason Witten. And Witten, fighting for more yardage, breaks this one into Packer territory to the 45-yard line. First down, Dallas.
Well, it's been the Jason Witten show here in the 4th quarter when they needed it most. And really the Packers have no choice because of the size of that offensive line. You have to bring up 8 in the box. You have to take your shot at stopping the run. But as we've seen time after time after time, Atari Bigby simply no match for Jason Witten, who I think is the best tight end in the league. There's probably better receiving tight ends, but when you take the combination of his blocking ability and his pass catching ability, I think he's the best.
Better than Gonzalez.
Yes, I do.
Better than Gates.
Yes, sir.
Better than Cooley.
Yes, sir.
Barber on first down again, and yeah, we've got a face mask, and once again it's Bigby. That's the second time Bigby has gotten his fingerprints on the face mask of Mr. Barber.
15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
This one's fairly easy to call.
There's the bounce out again. Going back inside.
May I take your hat, sir?
Well, it's just not, can't rip somebody's helmet off at this point in the game when you're desperately trying to get back in this thing. Penalties have been a factor for the Green Bay Packers. If I remember correctly, they're second highest in the NFL this season with penalties, and they've had some big ones tonight.
I want to welcome those who are joining us on NFL.com and NFL Mobile to Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. We've had a beauty going on here tonight, a game in which the Cowboys ran out to a 27-10 lead. But after Brett Favre went down, Aaron Rodgers played well. He's got them within one score with 3:10 to go in this ball game, 34-27 Cowboys. Cowboys with a fresh set of downs. This is Barber spinning outside and getting to the 20. Stays inbounds. The clock keeps moving. We move inside 3 minutes.
Aaron Campman's been getting pretty good pressure on the outside, not getting the sacks. This time having to fend off a 350-pound offensive lineman. But this is what the Dallas Cowboys have been doing. If you watch their games throughout the course of the season, by the time they get to the fourth quarter, they put Marion Barber in the game. They get behind their big offensive line, and they run out the clock. It is an absolutely huge part of it, but Jason Garrett believes in this guys. The guys up front are just massive blockers. They tend to get a lot more simple. And Marion Barber, tremendously conditioned, finds a way to find holes and bounce back.
And
Julius Jones generally sits in this situation.
The Packers have used their second timeout. These two teams have combined for 17 NFL championships. They met 3 times in the 90s, and the Cowboys in the postseason winning all 3 of those. As we've noted, Brett Favre has had his problems down here in Dallas. He's been down here 8 times. He's come away a loser all 8 times. And now tonight, he comes away hurt. Not his favorite place to play. 2nd and 4, just inside 3 minutes. It's Barber again. And he looks like he's got the Cowboys a fresh set of downs. First down, Dallas.
Jason Witten once again, who's part tight end, part fullback, part blocking back. He can play so many roles on this football team, and as we've seen, the receiver side of him not too bad either. He is a tremendously talented young man, and Brett Favre now headed back into the locker room one more time.
We're counting down to the 2-minute warning. We're at 2:17. This will be the last play before that 2-minute warning. It's Barber inside once again. Then the clock will be stopped. But the Packers are in deep trouble here. It would seem the Cowboys can just milk the clock and get out of here with a 34-27 victory. We'll come back on the other side. Romo inside the huddle can afford to smile. His Cowboys are on the better end of a 34-27 score, and there's just 2 minutes left to play. 2nd and 8, and the Packers are reduced to just 1 timeout. Marion Barber once again. Turning him back, or at least trying to, was Al Harris. Barber stayed inbounds. They kept the clock running, but Green Bay has used its final timeout, it would seem.
Great job by Marion Barber getting down on this one. Let's go back to the 2 key plays of the game, both pass interference calls. I thought the first one was pretty obvious on Jarrett Bush. This next one's going to be the question. Was Tramon Williams looking back and playing the ball? He was early on. There's no question. He turned and looked back. And then right before the contact was made, he's going to turn back. So if in the official's mind he was not playing the ball, You could see he was turned and looking back at the ball, turned back to play Miles Austin, and that's when the tangled feet occurred. So your interpretation, was he looking back? Was he not?
Glad I don't have to make the call.
Close call, no question
about it. But they
about
did, and that's pretty much the difference in this ball game right now.
Miles Austin's had a big role in this one for a guy down the depth chart.
It'll be Barber again. And he'll be stacked up at the 7-yard line. Cullen Jenkins, who has played more than he normally might because KGB has been out. And it's worth noting that we had Bush and Williams on those 2 pass interference calls, both of them playing in place of Charles Woodson, who was out tonight.
Yeah, no question. Now we go back to Mike McCarthy's decision to play for the field goal, down 7. Now a field goal the other way essentially ices this one. So, you know, I second guess or whatever, but in my opinion, knowing the Cowboys offense and the success they've had so far, and in particular the success they've had in their 4-minute offense at the end of games throughout the course of the season, my decision would have been to go for the touchdown.
Timeout Cowboys, their second of the half. T.O. can smile. He's had a big game. He's actually had a game for the record books. He's the first player in NFL history with a touchdown catch and at least 6 receptions. First time in NFL history. The man has done that in 7 consecutive ball games.
And Tony Romo just continues to impress, doesn't he? A big game, no question about it. Championship sort of feel to it. And he's just dumping buckets of water on his head. He doesn't care. He's got his ball cap on backwards, little Ken Griffey Jr. maybe, you know, one of those.
I like your Magic Johnson analogy.
Yeah, you know, he's just a kid having fun out there and playing awfully well.
And so this attempt for Folk, he's made from 26 and 51. Add this one from 25, and that should do it. With that field goal, the Cowboys assume a 10-point lead, 37-27. As you can see, just slightly more than a minute to play in this ball game.
I'll make one last point about Tony Romo. Playing quarterback in the NFL is about reading defenses and finding single coverage. In this game tonight, he has done that as well as any quarterback you want to name. Every time the Green Bay Packers have left somebody isolated in one-on-one situations, he's found them, whether they turned into pass interferences or touchdowns. That has really been the key, and that is where I've seen the greatest improvement in his game from this year to last.
We spoke earlier about the quarterbacks who were drafted ahead of him. There were 13 of them, and of those 13, only one of them really is a legit week-in and week-out starter in the NFL, that one being Carson Palmer. There are 2 others who are presently starting for their ball clubs in Rex Grossman at Chicago and Kyle Bowler at Baltimore, but they've been in and out of the lineup. Other than that, he has outperformed the 13 who were picked ahead of him.
And he caught a break having Jason Garrett as his offensive coordinator, who has just been painting some masterpieces in Dallas.
Tramon Williams just got baptized at the 18. Keith Davis, their special team specialist, just laid a lick on him. We waited 59 minutes into this ball game to get some degree of satisfaction. I'd say he got it.
Keith Davis with a little exclamation point at the end of this one. And well, it takes all 3 phases to end up 11-1 on the season. And that one was something. Wade Phillips, defensive-minded guy for a long time. That's what he saw there.
Gutsy performance by the Green Bay Packers, but it appears it's going to fall short. Rodgers completes this one to Donald Driver. He's trying to get out of bounds and does. Got bounced around a little bit there before he made his way to the sidelines. Rodgers has played very well tonight. Unofficially 17 of 22 for 192 yards and a touchdown.
Well, there's no question that the future looks brighter today than maybe it did yesterday when you're thinking about the fact that Brett Favre is 38 years old and who knows how much longer he can play. But should Brett be seriously injured, and we don't really know at this point, it's like they're still going to have a very legitimate shot in the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers will go over the 200-yard mark as he completes this one to Jennings. But the tick, tick, tick moves us inside 40 seconds now. Rodgers grounds it.
And this is a bold statement by the Dallas Cowboys as well. When you juxtapose the two, New England's struggle against Philadelphia the other night, the impressive performance here by Wade Phillips' squad against the 10-1 Green Bay Packers, you start to say, is there enough there? You know, they just keep adding elements and they keep getting better. Tank Johnson comes in, you know, that wasn't there early in the season. Tony Romo keeps maturing. His relationship with Theo gets better.
Back on October 14th, of course, these Cowboys played the Patriots here and lost to them 48-27. But this is a far different team than the team of 6 games ago.
And I'll say this as well, that was a game that, if I remember correctly, in the third quarter, the Dallas Cowboys were leading. They kind of got away from them a little bit late. But this is a young team. They're getting better. They're getting guys back healthy, getting an Anthony Henry back, and Greg Ellis looks better than what he did early in the season, coming back from the Achilles injury. So there's a lot to be optimistic about in Dallas.
Rodgers on 4th down, throwing incomplete. And with that, Jerry Jones can start shaking hands and giving hugs.
And he's going to start with Jason Garrett, and why not? That young man has done so much for this football team. Jerry Jones actually was interviewing for the head coaching job, and they thought, well, you know what? Wade Phillips has the experience. He's been here before. He knows what he's doing. Let's give Jason a little bit more time to develop and do his job. But when you look at this offense, there have been very few offenses in the history of the game that have been better than what the Dallas Cowboys have been. And Jason Garrett, mark my words, will be the hottest, or at least one of the hottest, head coaching candidates at the end of the season. And then Jerry Jones has to figure out a way to keep him around in this Dallas organization.
And the Cowboys go to 11-1 as the Packers lose for just the 2nd time this year for Dallas. That is a franchise best start, 11-1. The Cowboys win it 37-27. Don't forget the Wendy's post-game show, Home Depot post-game show is coming up in just a little bit. We'll be back in Dallas with some final notes before we get to Rich and the guys. And we'll have an interview down in the field. Adam Schefter, we'll see if he can get a few words from Rick Romo. But our final here at Texas Stadium is the Dallas Cowboys 37, the Green Bay Packers 27. We'll be right back right after this.
The official home improvement sponsor of the NFL.
We welcome you back to Texas Stadium in the Home Depot postgame show. We've just watched the Dallas Cowboys turn back the Green Bay Packers 37-27. A remarkable night, really, especially so because Brett Favre, the Iron Man of the NFL, was chased to the sidelines with a bruised throwing arm after that hit by Nathan Jones. Aaron Rodgers came in and actually played very effectively for the Packers. They climbed to within 3, and they looked to be in position to take the lead in the 4th period, especially so after a crazy turnover. The Cowboys throwing into the end zone, and Terrell Owens just coughed it up. Al Harris picks it off, but the Cowboys defense bowed itself, got the ball back, and then this was the big play of the game, the interference call. Inside the 5-yard line, Miles Austin getting the benefit of the call there, a 40-yard break, and then the touchdown to Creighton put the Cowboys up by 10. They wind up winning it by 7. The star of the night, Tony Romo, 19 of 30, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. He talked a moment ago with our Adam Schefter.
Tony, congratulations. You clinched a spot in the playoffs, and you had the inside track on home field advantage in the playoffs. What does that mean to you?
That was, our first goal of the year is to come out, and win division games, get into the playoffs, and we've accomplished that now. And obviously the next step is to win the division and put yourself in position, to go far.
Why was this team able to get out to such a quick start tonight, 27 points in the game's first 20 minutes?
We just executed. The game, it's just about going out there to execute and just trying to throw it to the guy who's open and hope you don't miss him halftime.
There have been some great quarterbacks who have played here, both here tonight. Rodgers, Staubach, Troy Aikman. Yet you threw 4 touchdowns tonight to set a new single-season franchise record with 33. Does that mean anything to you?
You know, I don't really play for individual records or anything. I mean, that's a testament to our team and how well we're playing, really. And I'm sure they'll look good. But if you win the Super Bowl, then those things are meaningful, I guess. But if you don't, they're just kind of something that happens, I guess.
Well, Tony, you're now 17-5 as a starter. Congratulations, and enjoy the 10-day break.
Appreciate it, bud.
Thanks so much.
All right, Adam Schefter, thanks so very much. And so here's a look at the playoff picture in the NFC. The Cowboys, for the first time in their pretty glorious history, moved to 11-1. And the Packers are still sitting in very good position for the number 2 seed. The rest of it pretty much self-explanatory. Reason it's pretty important in the NFC, the last 3 years, the number 1 seed has moved on to the Super Bowl in this conference.
Yeah, and the lines are pretty well drawn now, aren't they? The Dallas Cowboys, clearly the favorite now in the NFC, the New England Patriots in the AFC, and the way those two teams have been playing, it's hard to imagine anybody coming into their home and knocking them off. But we've seen stranger things throughout the course of the year, but a very impressive performance tonight, not just by the Dallas Cowboys, but Tony Romo, Terrell Owens. The stars came out, performed the way they have all season long, and then at the end of the game, that big offensive line, Marion Barber took over as they've done all season long.
We look at the other side, Green Bay Packers. Good news, bad news. Good news is they came in here, people were still asking questions about them, but they showed themselves to be really a genuine playoff team and a power in the NFC. Bad news is Brett Favre is a big question mark.
A big question mark, and really they played tonight really without 3 of their biggest stars, Charles Woodson, KGB, Brett Favre, all going out for this ball game. So not a full look out of the Green Bay Packers, but let's give the Dallas Cowboys credit. They came in, took care of business at home, and got it done.
Our final 37-27. We can expect to see both these teams playing in January.
No question.
No question about that. With that note, let's go on downstairs to Rich Eisen and the Total Access Home Depot post-game show crew. Rich?
All right, Bryant and Chris, thanks very much. Rich Eisen, Marshall Falk, Deion Sanders, and Steve Mariucci with that Home Depot post-game show. All right, guys, let's talk about this game. 37-27. 4 more touchdowns for Tony Romo. Terrell Owens, a $156, but as Chris Collinsworth pointed out, the Packers were within 1 possession of the Cowboys in this hostile environment without Charles Woodson, without Kabir Bajaj-Biamila, and without Brett Favre. Did they take anything out of this game other than the loss, Marshall?
Well, definitely Aaron Rodgers. You found out that you have a backup quarterback and your future is pretty good. He played pretty well. But when you look at this game, and in big games, period, there's 2 things that you can't do. You can't turn the ball over, and you can't have a lot of penalties, and the Packers had a lot of both.
It's hard enough to get 2 corners that can bump and run and play this game at a certain level. Then I think that you could replace them with 2 young corners in a game of this magnitude is absurd. But I don't think we could take too much from this game because Green Bay was shorthanded and Dallas got away from their game plan. You got to learn how to kill a gnat with a sledgehammer. When you get a team down, it's not a championship-type team if you can't put them away. And Dallas showed me today that they didn't know how to put the Green Bay Packers away.
I was impressed with both football teams. Number 1, Dallas winning this game in good fashion, although, like you mentioned, I thought Green Bay came out and shorthandedly now with personnel made some nice halftime adjustments and slowed down Dallas in that second half. They only got 1 touchdown, and it was because of a 42-yard pass interference penalty. So I like Green Bay's effort. It showed us that, hey, they can compete with the big boys shorthanded. If they get these guys back healthy and play again, it ought to be a heck of a game. And Aaron Rodgers looked like he did when he played at Cal, playing against USC in the big games. He always played well.
That said, the Dallas Cowboys are the ones that emerged from this game with an 11th win in a playoff spot and the inside track in the NFC right up until the Super Bowl. And Tony Romo with 4 touchdown passes. He's now the all-time single-season touchdown thrower in the history of this franchise. That is for the first time 11-1. And yet you take out of this game, Deion, that they couldn't close out the Green Bay Packers.
It could put them away. I mean, you playing shorthanded. and you can't put them away. And they got away from their game plan. When Aaron Rodgers came in, really, that was the best thing that happened to the Green Bay Packers because Dallas had a defensive game plan to stifle Brett Favre unbelievably. I mean, the pressure they put on him. As soon as Aaron Rodgers came in, it seemed like they got hesitant. They got reluctant. They start playing soft, and he was sitting back there just looking at one receiver the whole time. It's not like he was making a read or anything. And when everybody was covered, he ran. It was simple.
At one point, he was 14 out of 15, and he looked very poised and comfortable in the pocket. And I also like his mobility. He got out of there. What did he have? 30 yards rushing tonight on five carries. So this was a good thing for the Green Bay Packers to see what they've got as a backup because he simply hasn't played, but he showed us a lot tonight.
Well, as the crowd is all fired up, chanting T.O. because I believe he is out here on the turf. And maybe we can get him over here. Maybe we could do that. Who knows? That's what you have when you got the Home Depot post-game show. You got muscle here in Dallas.
The Home Depot post-game show is brought to you by the Home Depot, official home improvement sponsor of...
Great win, guys. Great win. That wasn't just a good one. That was a great one. All right. Hey, let's hear it for our crowd. Let's hear it for the offense. Defense. Special teams. Owner. Coaches. What a win. Where's my spokesman here? Terrell. Terrell, where are you, man? Terrell. Where's Terrell? Hey, Terrell. Come on, keep it Terrell. You gotta keep it going.
Hey, we gave him the business, baby. I like the way we play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, great job, guys. I'm proud of all of you. Really proud of all of you. Special win for us.
And that is Wade Phillips in the locker room, and here he is out of the locker room in the flesh after a 7-catch, $156 performance, tying a Cowboy record with 14 touchdowns this season. Terrell Owens joining us here on Total Access. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. So, let's start with your coach, Wade Phillips. There you are. His arms around you. You're leading this team in cheers. How much does Wade Phillips have to do with this 11-1 start?
I mean, great. Let me start off by thanking the Lord for giving me the opportunity just to come out and do what I did today, and I couldn't do it without my teammates, Tony and all the offensive line giving them time. But Wade has been very instrumental. He came in during off-season training camp, and he implemented his philosophy. And, I think all the guys have been very, very receptive to him, and the record is a very good indicator of what he's brought to this team.
We heard in the interview that we did prior to the game, you're maturing, your maturation process. And you just gave me an example to my humble host, Rich Eisen, of your maturity by thanking God first, thanking all of your people that are responsible for your success. Is that part of the new T.O., or has that always been?
I mean, it's always been me, and I think now it's just I have a great coach in Wade. I have a coaching staff that believes in me. They're utilizing me in the offense, and, we're just playing great as a team, man.
I think you're talking also about Ray Sherman, huh, T.O.?
Oh, man, Ray Sherman has been very, very instrumental.
Yeah.
And just staying with me every day. I asked him to coach me like I'm like a rookie. I want to be the best that I can be. And every day I go out and practice hard, and it just carries over into the game. And I know I don't mention Ray very often, but he's very instrumental.
Your position
in
coach.
My success.
Your position coach, Ray Sherman.
And you've had good seasons before in your career, several. And you've played on good teams in San Francisco and Philly. How does this team right here, this young team, compare? Is this your best team, or is it still a work in progress?
I mean, it's always work in progress, but we do have a great team here. We knew that, coming in from last year, the devastating loss in Seattle, everybody knew that we had a good team. And just with what Wade has done, with his philosophy, just coming in and treating us like men, everybody being responsive,
receptive. I mean, it's been a great atmosphere around the whole locker room.
I think it was brilliant by your coordinator, Jason Garrett, to take you and place you in motion.
Yeah.
So he won't leave you outside the numbers against an Al Harris who's very physical at the ball. And they switch. He never came with you in motion. Was that a game plan that you welcomed?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I knew it was going to be tough. I knew it was going to be a great challenge, you know, with Al Harris out there. He's a great competitor. He's a great DB. But I knew that the things that I did in this offense were going to enable us to be explosive down the field. And I welcome the challenge. Anybody want to step on the field, you know, week in and week out, I'm ready.
Are you the best team in the NFL?
I mean, we're work in progress. You know, right now, we haven't gotten to where we need to be. We've put ourselves in the driver's seat, put ourselves in the situation for the playoffs, and we just got to keep going.
11-1's a pretty good work in progress, Terrell.
We just got to keep chugging along.
But you know how many people in the NFL, and certainly those who follow the NFL, keep talking about the New England Patriots, a team that came in this house, handed your only loss of the season. How do you guys compare to that Patriots team as we sit here after your Week 13 win?
Well, I mean, we played those guys. They beat us. We're not really focused and concentrating on what they're doing. It's all about what we're doing right now. You know, we're going with everybody that's on our schedule. We're taking them one at a time. We can't look any further ahead than the opponent at hand. So that's how we're focusing, and that's the approach that we're taking.
T.O., I was there for the Sharpie. I was there for the pom-poms. The popcorn. You got the popcorn up there.
Yeah.
You had the popcorn ready.
Yeah, it was very spontaneous. I scored.
It was very spontaneous, but he was back there with some popcorn. Who you think you talking to? He just happened to be stationed. You know the thing I like about that is you have enough confidence to know you're going to get in the paint. Not only in the paint, in this paint.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every week, man, I concentrate, I focus, I dedicated myself during the offseason to do the things that I'm doing now. And I mean, I can't be more thankful than the coaching staff. I mean, if it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be able to do, you know, what I'm doing. I mean, Jason Garrett, I can't say enough about him. And he's done a great job week in and week out, moving me around in the offense. And we're just taking advantage. And Tony's doing a great job of, you know, taking what the defense is giving us.
And you want to know, you may be different from the time that you played for him. He now texts Steve Mariucci. He texts, people hit him on his hip. He's a different guy himself, thanks to Dion. Right?
You're texting your sons?
That's the maturation process.
He knows how to walk it out.
Oh, yeah?
He knows how to walk it out.
So you texting Tyler and all those your boys now?
Just a little.
Just a little, yeah.
Tell me something. The only thing I was critical with your team tonight was you didn't put them away. And the sign of a championship team, when you get someone down, you got to put them away. And it seemed like you guys got complacent.
Well, I think, as I said, you know, we're still work in progress. And yeah, you want to have that killer instinct. And we're going to get better and better. And as the season progresses, I mean, we're at the end of our schedule, but we're going to get better and better. And I think, you know, the way the defense came in tonight and played and they stood strong and they did a great job, and they stopped those guys when they had to, and put us back on the field. And yeah, we're going to get better.
Yeah, your coach smiling, laughing, joking, having a wonderful time. The whole team is so ecstatic about that win, and they call you in to give a speech, and you just had to take your shirt off. Huh? You just had to walk in there with your shirt off, as if you didn't know there was cameras in there.
I was about to get in the shower, man, and then they come in and it's like, come do NFL Network. So I just had to rush in and do what I do.
And you know what's amazing of the you never know that if someone had told you the day of the Star, when you came running out the Star of San Francisco, that this would be the way you'd be loved in this stadium in Dallas, what would you have said to that certain someone?
You know what? That's how free agency is. And you know what? I'm glad to be a Dallas Cowboy right now.
Do you ever think you'd ever hear that out of his mouth, Steve?
Nope.
When I played for San Francisco, we wanted to beat these guys.
Right.
And we came in and we did what we had to do. And it's the same, you know. When I'm playing with the Dallas Cowboys, whomever we're playing, you know, I'm gunning for them.
Well, my favorite quote, and we got to get out of here, is I love me some Nick. Can you just give it to us?
He said that on the air one time.
Real lightly before you go.
Everybody that's out there watching this, I love me some me. Believe it.
And there you have it. I don't know how to wrap that up.
I love you, boy.
All right, man.
Pressure.
Terrell Owens, congratulations.